Chapter 2950. With that, he didn't wait for Lin Yi to reply and continued. Or else, I'm not afraid to tell you that my master came from an ancient sect. It's not convenient for him to kill people, but it's convenient for me. I've always hated Meng Yao and Yu Shu. Let's see if the hidden house you dares to stick their noses into the ancient sect's business. Qibing smiled coldly. Besides, don't think that I'll still attack you just because you have a sky class with you. If you do, you'll be provoking the entire Palace of Darkness. At that time, the Palace of Darkness will have a reason to kill all of you. Even the other ancient sects won't stop the Palace of Darkness from taking revenge. Qibing's words were vicious. If Lin Yi didn't agree, he'd attack Meng Yao and Yu Shu. He even threatened Lin Yi's people not to fight back. If they did, they'd be provoking the ancient sect, and the Palace of Darkness would come to destroy them. If Lin Yi wasn't injured, he wouldn't have to suffer like this even if he wasn't as strong as the Palace of Darkness. But now he had to lower his head. Lin Yi couldn't do anything to this shameless method. At this time, Meng Yao and Yu Shu walked out of the villa. Their faces changed slightly when they heard Qibing's words. It wasn't obvious, but Lin Yi's sharp senses picked up on it. Yu Shu was the type of person who wanted to see the world in chaos, but today, she was unusually quiet. She didn't refute Qibing's words, but stood behind Lin Yi quietly, waiting for Lin Yi's decision. Yui was afraid that Qibing and the others would return, so he walked around Lin Yi's house and saw this headache-inducing scene. Before, when the Palace of Darkness came to ask for pills from Lin Yi, Yui didn't think much of it. But today, he realized that Elder Black-Clothed and Qibing were in cahoots. Under these circumstances, Yui didn't dare to step up, especially when Qibing said that House Yu wouldn't meddle in other people's business. This made him hesitate even more. House Yu had a background, but they were still a hidden sect. It wasn't realistic to go against the ancient sect. Haha, Lenny, what do you think? Speechless now, right? If you know what's good for you, hand over the pill, or I'll do it. Qibing waved his hand and threatened Lin. I'll destroy Ming Yao's face first, then I'll break Yu Shu's legs. I hate this big Yu Shu the most, so after I break her legs, I'll smash her boobs and let them dangle in front of me. It's annoying. Lin Yi frowned. There was nothing Lin Yi could do about Qibing's vulgar words. Just when Lin Yi was about to nod and agree, a cold voice sounded behind Qibing and the black-clothed man. An ancient sect actually came to the common world to cause trouble. Who gave you the courage to do this? Elder Black-Clothed was shocked, and so was Lin Yi, because they didn't realize that there was another person nearby. Even Yu Yi, who was hiding not far away, changed his expression. He didn't know when this person appeared. Even he, a sky-class master, didn't notice him. But in the next moment, Yu Yi understood because the owner of the voice didn't hide his strength. He was a sky-class master at the peak of the late phase. You? Who are you? Elder Black-Clothed's expression changed as well. Yu Yi could sense the person's strength, and Elder Black-Clothed was no exception. A sky-class master at the peak of the late phase in the ancient sects would be like the sect master, Grand Elder, or Grand Elder. Why would he appear here all of a sudden? I'm just a passerby. This was a gentleman in white with an elegant demeanor. He was holding a paper fan in his hand. Although he looked very carefree, his voice carried an unapproachable tone. I'm Elder Black-Clothed of the Dark Palace, under the orders of the Grand Elder, to recover the stolen goods that Lin Yi stole. I don't care who you are, but please don't interfere with the rights of the Dark Palace. Elder Black-Clothed spoke fiercely. After all, this person was a top master in the cultivation world. Stolen goods? How come I didn't know it was stolen goods? The young master in white looked at Elder Black-Clothed and asked coldly, What do you know? This is an internal matter of the Dark Palace. Although you're a sky-class master at the peak of the late phase, we don't have to report it to you, right? Elder Black-Clothed braced himself and said, I don't care about other things, but this involves the interests of my sect. The Sky Silkworm transformation, have to take care of it. The young master in white closed his paper fan and looked at Elder Black-Clothed coldly. Your sect? What are you? What? You said you're the Sky Silkworm transformation? Elder Black-Clothed suddenly realized and looked at the young master in white in shock. You said you're the young master of the Sky Elixir sect? That's right, the reward of the Sky Elixir sect trial is issued by the Sky Elixir sect. How can the Dark Palace tell us what to do? The young master in white was, of course, Tian Dai. She rushed back overnight and didn't expect to see this. She immediately stepped out to stop it. Elder Black-Clothed looked at the young master in white, his eyes filled with hesitation and unwillingness. He didn't believe that the Sky's silkworm transformation would personally take care of this. This wasn't a big deal at all. He thought that maybe this was one of Lin Yi's lackeys pretending to be him, but his strength wasn't fake either. However, Elder Black-Clothed still asked, "As far as I know, young Master Tian is very busy every day. How would he have the time to take care of such a small matter? How can you prove your identity? Isn't this enough?" Tian Dai casually tossed a token towards the black-clothed elder. The black-clothed elder took it in his hand and looked at it. His eyes froze. This was indeed the token of the head, young head and elders of the ancient sections. The tokens were made by all the ancient sects after discussion. Naturally, the black-clothed elder recognized it. Even he himself had a token of the Dark Palace's elder. This was for the convenience of the ancient sects when they went out to do things. It was to prevent the flood from rushing into the Dragon King's temple and not recognizing one family member. Thus, Elder Black-Clothed didn't doubt it anymore. Although he was unwilling, he still respectfully returned the token to Tian Dai and cupped his fists. Elder Black-Clothed of the Dark Palace greets young Master Tian. Since young Master Tian has intervened, I'll leave first. Chapter 2951. Wait, who said you could leave? Tian Dai's tone was cold as she blocked the elder and Qibing's path. Young Master Tian, since you're interfering, can't we leave? Why are you stopping us? The black-robed elder frowned. Could it be that the heavenly silkworm transformation still wanted to pursue the matter? Kneel down and apologize to him. Tian Dai pointed at Lin Yi and said coldly to the elder, "You?" After hearing Tian Dai's words, the black-clothed elder's face suddenly turned red. He never thought that the heavenly silkworm transformation would make him kneel to a rogue cultivator. What kind of humiliation was this? Didn't you hear me? Tian Dai frowned. She'd been imitating Tian Chan all this time. Tian Chan's silkworm transformation in Sky Elixir sect had always been cold and ruthless. This was the image that the outside world recognized, but Tian Dai didn't know that Tian Chan had a soft side too. Young Master Tian, don't go too far. We, the Dark Palace, are in the wrong for interfering with the prize of the Sky Elixir sex test, but we're all from the ancient times. We'll see each other all the time. You want me to kneel to a junior freelancer? Did I hear that right? The elders said angrily, "We, the Dark Palace, are not pushovers." Kneel! Tian Dai only said 2 words. "Zhao Qibing, let's go. Let's see what he can do." The elder waved his sleeves and was about to pull Qibing away forcefully. As far as he was concerned, even a Sky-class late-phase peak master wouldn't attack silkworm transformation for no reason. The black-clothed elder didn't even see how the silkworm transformation was used before Qibing's arm fell off. "If you don't kneel, I don't mind helping you with your broken legs," Tian Dai said faintly. "I heard that your training is called 1,000 legs, using a broken leg to cultivate. However, I might break it more thoroughly and directly cut off both of your legs. After that, I wonder if you can still cultivate 1,000 legs." With that, Tian Dai pointed her finger, and a fireball shot out from her hand, landing on Qibing's severed arm on the ground, turning it into ashes immediately. "My arm!" Zhao Qibing looked at his arm that had turned into ashes. His eyes rolled back, and he fell to the ground. He had been fantasizing about bringing his arm back to the hospital to reattach it, but now his arm had turned to ashes. What the hell was he supposed to do? In the future, he would be a crippled one-armed man. How could Zhao Qibing not faint at the thought? Although he was an expert in leg techniques, as a cultivator, losing an arm was a fatal injury. Cold sweat dripped down from the black-clothed elder's forehead. The rumors were indeed correct. The heavenly silkworm transformation was a tyrannical and ruthless person. Although he looked like an elegant young master, the rumors of him using beauties as cultivation furnaces were most likely true. From his methods, it could be seen that he was a vicious and merciless person. What kind of fire is this? How can it have such high temperature? Is this refinement fire? The elder asked in shock, but he was confused. No, this shouldn't be refinement fire. How can refinement fire be so powerful? At this time, Lin Yi looked at the handsome young man in front of him in shock. He almost blurted out, "Forging fire." This beautiful young man in white was actually using the forging fire. The forging fire can actually be used as a martial skill. How could it have such high temperature? It could even burn a cultivator's body to ashes. However, although Lin Yi was confused, he couldn't say it out loud. The sudden appearance of silkworm transformation made Lin Yi very puzzled, even more puzzled than Yui's appearance yesterday. It was understandable that Yui was related to Yu Ning, but what about silkworm transformation? Lin Yi believed that silkworm transformation was here because of his relationship with Kong Ming Ming, but it was a bit unrealistic that silkworm transformation was here to help him. Could it be that silkworm transformation said that he was here to protect the fairness of the Sky Elixir sex trial? This was a bit unbelievable, wasn't it? Looking at silkworm transformation in front of him, he seemed to have seen him before, but he didn't seem to have seen him at all. Lin Yi racked his brain to think if he had met this handsome young man before. However, Lin Yi was disappointed to find that there was no such person in his memory. As familiar as it was, Lin Yi really didn't know who silkworm transformation was. He couldn't be blamed, however, since Tian Chan was a girl in male attire. Tian Chan looked similar to Tian Chan, and even more so in male attire, but they were two different people after all. It was normal that Lin Yi couldn't recognize Tian Chan after so many transformations. "You want to try?" Tian Dai asked coldly. "No, I don't want." The elder stuttered, his face pale. Zhao Qibing was an Earth Class early phase, and though he was an Earth Class late phase peak, in front of silkworm transformation, he was nothing more than a piece of cake. The problem was that silkworm change seemed to be in the right this time, but the problem was that they were strong. Even if the other ancient sects knew that silkworm change was making a big deal out of nothing, no one dared to say anything. This was a super ancient sect. Who would be willing to stand up for a weak dark palace? "That depends on your performance," Tiandai said. The black-clothed elder's face turned from white to red, but in the end he still endured the mental struggle and knelt on the ground with a plop. He said to Tian Can, "Young sect master Tian, please forgive me. I came here on the orders of the Grand Supreme Elder. I was wrong. I don't dare to interfere with the Heavenly Elixir sect anymore. It's not me. It's him." Tian Dai pointed at Lin. She didn't have any other reaction towards the elder's actions. "Lin Yi, young Master Lin, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Please say something." The elder knew that this wouldn't end if Lin Yi didn't say anything. He didn't know why Silkworm Transformation had to ask for Lin Yi's opinion, but he had to do it no matter what. Chapter 2952. Yes, yes, yes. Elder Hain nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Everyone else looked on curiously at this dramatic scene, especially Old Pie and the others. They didn't know why Silkworm was doing this. If it was for the fairness of the Sky Elixir School, then they could have just punished Elder Hay. There was no need to ask or care about Lin Yi's feelings. But now, it seemed like Lin Yi was the main character. Could it be that the Sky Elixir School was purposely showing that they were the participants, so that more trial takers would trust them and participate in the next Heavenly Elixir trial? "Since Lin Yi has forgiven you, then I'll let it go this time," Tian Dai warned. "Don't do it again." "Yes, young Master Tian, don't worry," Elder Black-Clothed quickly promised as he pulled Qibing up from the ground. Qibing was missing an arm, but as long as he had a leg, it wouldn't affect his 1,000 legs training. "Young Master Tian, I'll be leaving now, wait." Tian Dai once again spat out 2 words that caused the black-clothed elder's heart to palpitate. "Young Master Tian, is there anything else?" Elder Hay asked carefully. "You're fine, but he's not. He hasn't kneeled yet," Tian Dai said. He's just my disciple. He has nothing to do with this, right?" Besides, he's already fainted, Elder Hayes said helplessly. Earlier, weren't the two of you together? Tian Dai asked instead. That? All right. Elder Hay had no choice but to slap the back of Qibing's neck, waking him up. Master, Master, save me. Qibing cried out in fear as soon as he woke up. Stop yelling, kneel down, and apologize to Lin Yi, and then I'll take you away. Elder Hay didn't want to stay in this embarrassing place any longer. Although the people from the Palace of Darkness were good at changing the direction of the wind and being shameless, it still didn't look good. Qibing froze as he looked at the elder in confusion. Kneel to Lin Yi? To him? We're from an ancient sect. I'm already kneeling. Why aren't you kneeling? Why are you talking so much nonsense? The black-clothed elder said angrily. Hurry up. Zhao Qibing was a little confused, but when he noticed Tianya's cold gaze, he shivered in fear. Although he was unwilling, he still knelt in front of Lin Yi. This humiliation made Zhao Qibing want to die. Why? He was already a disciple of an ancient sect. Why did he have to kneel down to Lin Yi, a freelancer who had lost the hidden house Zhao? This contrast was driving him crazy. In the morning, he'd come to Lin Yi's place in high spirits, thinking that he'd be able to turn Yushu into Miss Cripple in front of Lin Yi. Who would have thought that he'd become a one-armed cripple instead? I'm sorry, I was wrong. Qibing almost cried. Although he admitted defeat in front of Lin Yi before, things were different now. At that time, Lin Yi was strong, and he was just a weakling. But now, he was a master, and Lin Yi was an injured person, but he still knelt, still had to apologize. This was too much. He looked at the arrogant Zhao Qibing kneeling in front of him, and then at the green face of the black-clothed elder who didn't dare say anything, and then at the indifferent face of the silkworm transformation, as if he didn't care about anything at all. Lin Yi finally understood one thing. If he wanted to make his voice heard in the world of the strong, he had to be stronger. Having a strong backing was the biggest source of confidence for Sky's silkworm transformation. Although the Dark Palace also had heaven-class late-phase peak masters, they definitely didn't have as many as Sky Elixir Sect. This was why Sky's silkworm transformation dared to point fingers in front of the black-clothed elder. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't do it without a strong force. If his followers were all Sky-class masters and formed a force comparable to the ancient sects, would Dark Palace still dare to act like this? Of course, even if Lin Yi understood this, it wouldn't help right now. Compared to the ancient sects, Lin Yi lacked a strong foundation. If Lin Yi didn't increase his own strength, he wouldn't be able to increase his followers' strength. This was a classic example of a man ascending to the heavens. Unlike the ancient sects who had many talents and many ways to increase their strength. With that thought, Lin Yi knew that he was being too impatient, stepping into the ancient level too early. He was only an Earth-class late phase, and although he could kill Sky-class mid-phase, that was still Earth-class late phase. If he was Sky-class and knew how to concoct Chi-gathering pill, then his followers would be Sky-class early phase as well. Would Dark Palace still dare to act like this then? The thrill from fighting higher levels. It made Lin Yi lose himself, ignoring the restriction of his strength level. It made Lin Yi feel that as long as he could kill higher-leveled enemies, his level didn't matter. But that wasn't the case. Increasing one's true strength was the way to go. Young Master Tian, is this okay now? The black-clothed elder waited for Qibing to apologize before asking. Hand over the pills in your hands to Lin Yi. It's an apology. Then you can leave. Tian Dai said. What? Our Chi-gathering pill? Why we have to hand it over? The black-clothed elder was completely hysterical. Silkworm transformation was pressuring him, and he finally exploded. We've already apologized. Why do we have to hand over our own things? Don't you Sky Elixir Sect want to maintain fairness? That belongs to us. Why do we have to hand it over? You made a mistake, and if it's just an apology, then I'll kill you and apologize to Dark Palace. Okay? Tian Dai said expressionlessly. You can refuse, but there's no more Chi-gathering pill. This is my decision, not a single third-level pill. What? There's no more chi gathering pill? The black-clothed elder's expression calmed down. The chi gathering pill was for to increase her strength. How could there be no more? If there was no more, the Grand Elder would kill him when he returned. With that thought, the black-clothed elder had no choice but to take out a small box from his pocket and throw it in Lin Yi's direction. All right, we'll give you the Great Recovery Pill. Chapter 2953. If that's the case, you can leave now. Tian Dai waved her hand at the black-clothed elder, indicating that he could leave. Let's go. The elder gritted his teeth and pulled Qibing, leaving this sad place with him. What did it mean to lose 2 birds with 1 stone? If Elder he hadn't been greedy and returned to the Dark Palace with Zhao Qibing after taking House Zhao's pill, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Both of them were Earth class. It was only a matter of seconds for them to leave. When the 2 were far away, Lin Yi said gratefully, "Thank you, young Master Tian, for upholding justice. And I'll be going if there's nothing else." Tian Dai nodded, turned around, and flew away. She left quietly, not taking a single cloud with her, just like how he came quietly. "Boss, you're friends with young Master Tian?" Han Xiaopa asked, confused. "Nope, first time meeting him." Lin Yi shook his head. If they were friends, it was with Qikuan. Back at the Sky Elixir Inn, Silkworm transformation had gone to him. But the news of Zhao Qikuan's betrayal hadn't been made public yet, so Silkworm transformation should be closer to Zhao Qibing, not Lin Yi. Could it be that Silkworm transformation was really here to uphold justice? That's weird, he's obviously on our side, or else he wouldn't have given us the pill. Zishan was quite puzzled by Silkworm transformation's actions. It's fine, we can't understand the thoughts of the masters of the ancient sections. Since everything's fine, that's for the best. Old Pai waved his hand and said to Qintian, "Push Mr. Lin back, it's windy outside." "Yes." Qintian nodded and pushed Lin Yi back. After Tian Dai left, naturally, she went to report to Tian Chan Elder he brought Qibing back to the Dark Palace, only to be met with the Grand Elder's rage. Of course, it wasn't directed at them, but at the Sky Elixir sect. "Silkworm transformation, you've gone too far. Isn't it because didn't marry your father? Do you really have to suppress us like this?" The Grand Elder blamed for the Silkworm transformation's strange behavior today. She glanced at the silent Yuaner and said, "Yuaner, because of your mistake, our Dark Knight Palace fell to the bottom of the class. Look at it. The heavenly Silkworm transformation actually helped that little bitch suppress us." Zhao Qibing, on the other hand, was shocked because he saw a mature version of Chu Mengyao here. Could the Grand Elder be referring to Mengyao as a little bitch? There must be a hidden story behind this. After discovering this secret, Qibing felt like he was on steroids, full of energy. This was a huge discovery. It seemed that the Grand Elder was very displeased with Lin Yi and Mengyao. If he became a disciple of Dark Knight Palace in the future, as long as he got on the Grand Elder's good side, would he be able to plot against Lin Yi and Mengyao? At the thought, Qibing smiled coldly. Lin Yi, we didn't expect this, did you? Zhao Qibing, found an ally here. Next time, you'll be the one begging for mercy, not me. As for Yuaner, Qibing guessed that she had a close relationship with Mengyao, but so what? Qibing understood that in the Dark Palace, the Grand Elder had the right to speak, and Yuaner, the Palace Master, was just a puppet with no real power at all. "Grand Elder, I'll work hard and try to get the inheritance as soon as possible," Yuaner said sadly. "It's good that you know how to work hard. At the Sky Class meeting, I don't want our Dark Knight Palace to be removed because of you," the Grand Elder said. News of the Silkworm changing Lin Yi's strength quickly spread back to the hidden house Zhao. The old Zhao, who'd been overjoyed, felt as if he'd fallen into an ice house, losing all of his emotions. Hidden House you supporting Lin Yi was understandable, but Silkworm supporting Lin Yi? How is that possible? Didn't Lin Yi have a grudge with the Sky Elixir sect? Hidden House you, on the other hand, received the news immediately, but they were even more confused than Hidden House Zhao. Wasn't there poison given to them by Elder Kong Ming Ming of the Sky Elixir sect? Why was Silkworm Change standing up for Lenny now? Now, even the Qinshan sect and Jinzhong sect, who were looking for a chance to find Lin Yi, gave up. No matter how strong they didn't dare go against an ancient sect, especially one of the strongest ancient sects. Not long after Tian Dai returned to the Sky Elixir sect and reported to Tian Chan, Tian Chan was summoned by the Xianqian Elder, because Kong Mingming also received an inquiry from Hidden House Yu. This meant that the Elder got the news. Tian Chan wasn't worried. She had already thought of a reason and went straight to the Elder's room. But what made Tian Chan unhappy was that Kong Mingming was there too. Silkworm Transformation greets Master Xianqian. Tian Chan greeted respectfully. MHM, sit, Silkworm Transformation. Xianqian Elder nodded and gestured for Silkworm Transformation to sit down. Silkworm Transformation didn't decline and sat across from Xianqian Elder. This was a treatment that even Kong Mingming didn't have. After all, Silkworm Transformation was the young sect master of the Sky Elixir sect. Martial Uncle, why are you looking for me? Although Silkworm Transformation had a rough guess in his heart, he still pretended not to know. Silkworm Transformation, I heard that you went to East Ocean City? Xianqian Elder asked calmly. To help Lin, you resolve the conflict with the Dark Knight Palace. Yes, Master Uncle, I just came back. Silkworm Transformation nodded and answered readily. Oh, don't you know that I have a conflict with Lin Yi? Why did you help him? Xianqian Elder's tone was calm, but there was a hint of reproach in it. I know, but compared to Lin Yi, I dislike the Dark Knight Palace even more. Tian Chan answered, the Dark Knight Palace and the Sky Elixir sect have been enemies for many years. And this time, I'm not helping Lin Yi. I'm doing this for the fairness of the Sky Elixir sect's trial. Oh, what do you mean? Xianqian Elder was slightly stunned, but he was satisfied with Tian Chan's answer. The conflict between the Sky Elixir sect and the Dark Knight Palace was accumulated from the previous generation. Of course, it was also because of the two ruthless people who interfered and didn't let Yi Wunner abort her child and follow the young sect master of the Sky Elixir sect as a concubine. Otherwise, the Dark Knight Palace and the Sky Elixir sect would be in-laws and wouldn't have such a huge conflict. Chapter 2954. This time, we planned the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect, and many cultivators died. Although this is not a big suspicion, after a long time, there will still be people who will suspect it. Now that I'm going out, I am making a gesture to show that the Heavenly Elixir sect is fair and just. Even if the trial is over, the rewards obtained in the trial will be protected by the Heavenly Elixir sect. In this way, there will be more participants in the next trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect. So that's how it is. You're thinking too much. Patriarch Xianqian nodded and said with relief, however, if the plan succeeds this time, there will be no need to refine elixirs in the trial anymore. So that's how it is. My disciple is meddlesome, Silkworm Transformation said. It's not meddlesome. You are the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Of course, you have to prioritize the reputation and interests of the Heavenly Elixir sect. You did nothing wrong. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and said, forget about this matter. Avoid Lin Yi in the future. Don't help him. Yes, disciple understands. Tian Chan hurriedly replied with her head lowered. However, an almost undetectable determination flashed across her eyes. It disappeared in a flash. Okay, you go back first. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand, indicating that Tian Chan could leave. After Tian Chan left, Patriarch Xianqian looked at Kong Mingming and said to him, this is a trivial matter. According to the report, Lin Yi's meridians and elixir field have been destroyed. Even if he has a 4th grade recover pill in his hands, it will be useless because he can't refine the pill at all. One more 3rd grade great cyclic pill is just one more joy. That's true. I was a little impatient. Kong Mingming quickly and carefully admitted his mistake. Silkworm Transformation. Although he is your senior, he is already the young master of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Try not to question what he does in the future. Patriarch Xianqian pondered for a moment and warned Kong Mingming. Master, isn't the Heavenly Elixir sect a subsidiary of our Five Elements sect? Kong Ming Ming was slightly stunned. It is a subsidiary, but the Heavenly Elixir sect has been following the Five Elements sect all these years and has reaped many benefits. Our Five Elements sect is only hidden behind the scenes. The benefits on the surface have been taken by the Heavenly Elixir sect. The power of the Heavenly Elixir sect has expanded rapidly in the past 20 years. From what I can see, it is not inferior to the Day and Day sect. Patriarch Xianshun solemnly. See? Is there something you can't see? Kong Xiaoming was taken aback. Who doesn't have a trump card? 5-5 sect, 5-5 sect. Sect, Elixir sect 6 will be sect 5. However, Kong Xiaoming already understood what Ancestor Xianshun meant. Five Elements sect seemed to be holding back as well. What he saw might not be Five Elements sect's full strength. Thinking of this, Kong Ming Ming could not help but be excited. Since the Heavenly Elixir sect is our subsidiary, won't we investigate if they are hiding something? If you want a sect to work for you with a peace of mind, you either have to be absolutely strong, or you have to let them have a trace of illusion and a trump card, making them think that we can't completely take them down. Patriarch Xianshun waved his hand and said, "You are still young, so you don't understand the mentality of these superiors." Oh, I see. Then why didn't our Five Elements sect go to the front? If we went to the front, wouldn't we be able to obtain more resources? Kong Ming Ming asked doubtfully. Haha, in fact, it seems that not going to the front was the right choice. If we went to the front, I reckon that little E and I would not be in the Five Elements sect anymore. Patriarch Xianshun said with some emotion. Master, what do you mean? What do you mean, not in the Five Elements sect anymore? Kong Ming Ming did not understand what Patriarch Xianshun meant. This matter has to start from a past event more than 10 years ago. There were two Heavenly Path Masters who came out of nowhere and ran amok in the entire ancient times. They took away all the masters with the strength of peak late stage of Heaven stage. Those who resisted had only one way out, and that was death. It was said that those who followed could successfully advance to the Heavenly Path. Patriarch Xianshun thought of the past and felt a little scared. Fortunately, the Five Elements sect was led by Boss Xianshun in the past. They were low-key, so the two masters did not discover the existence of the Five Elements sect. Otherwise, the Five Elements sect would not have been spared. Heavenly Path Masters? There are really Heavenly Path Masters in this world. Kong Ming Ming realized today that he was a frog at the bottom of a well. Those two people are too overbearing, right? Those who resist will die. Isn't that unreasonable? In the world of cultivators, the weak are prey to the strong. How can there be any reason? You poison Lin E. Isn't that unreasonable? Patriarch Xianshun shook his head and said disapprovingly, That's true. Kong Ming Ming just remembered that wasn't the same for him. Moreover, these two Heavenly Path Masters, who are known as the Vajra Dual Evils, are not unreasonable. In fact, in the world of cultivation, which master with the strength of peak late stage of Heaven stage is not a little dirty. They have also killed people and snatched other people's treasures. If these are listed, it will also be a crime. Patriarch Xianshun said, if they casually take out one of them, you can't do anything. Then isn't it better to follow them? Isn't it possible to advance to the Heavenly Path? Kong Ming Ming was still a little puzzled. That's what you say, but who saw it? For thousands of years, the only way we cultivators know to advance to the Heavenly Path is to open the Heavenly Stage Island and advance to the Heavenly Path there. It's not the so-called following others to advance to the Heavenly Path. Patriarch Xianshun said, moreover, from the looks of it, the cultivators who left with the two of them have completely disappeared. There's no news of them in the Jianghu anymore. So, I think there's an 80% chance that they won't return. What do those two Heavenly Path Masters want to do? Kong Ming Ming asked curiously. I don't know about that. Heavenly Path Masters have strange thoughts. It's not something that we can infer. Without reaching that level, no one knows what people at that level are thinking and what they are looking for. Patriarch Xianshun shook his head and said, All right, Kong Ming nodded and stopped asking. Instead, he asked, "By the way, Master, are you still going to refine Lin Yi's extreme chi-gathering pill?" Chapter 29:55. That makes sense. Master, you're the one who thinks far ahead. Kong Ming flattered. In fact, he had thought of this a long time ago. It was just that he couldn't make a decision on this matter. So he asked the Xianxin ancestor. The Xianxin ancestor glanced at Kong Ming. With his wisdom, how could he not see through Kong Ming's hypocrisy? However, the Xianxin ancestor didn't say anything. He liked Kong Ming's personality. He felt that this disciple of his would definitely surpass his other disciples in terms of evil and immoral. This was also the reason why the Xianxin ancestor often let Kong Ming accompany him. It was a great thing in life to have a disciple who was equally immoral and immoral. What happened today, although it was scary but not dangerous, made Linny break out in a cold sweat. If it wasn't for the timely appearance of Silkworm transformation, Lin Yi would have to hand over the recover pill. However, even if Lin Yi handed over the pill, with Zhao Qibing's evil personality, he might not let Meng Yao and Yushu go. He would definitely do something to disgust Lin Yi. Although Zhao Qibing's third leg was broken, he wouldn't do anything dirty. Lin Yi believed that Yao Wang didn't have the ability to heal him so quickly, but the more it was like this, the more perverted Zhao Qibing's mentality would be. Today, with Silkworm transformation, he dodged it. Lin Yi couldn't guarantee what would happen next time. This time, although Lin Yi didn't encounter any imminent danger, the worry in his heart was even stronger, because he couldn't predict what would happen. If Kong Ming got the news and brought people to cause trouble, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to defend against it. So, after dinner, Lin Yi looked at the people in front of him and made a difficult decision. I'm going to pack up and bring Shu and Yao back to West Star Mountain Village. We'll hide for a period of time. After I leave, those enemies won't come after you guys. You guys can go home. Although Lin Yi's tone was very normal, anyone could see the helplessness and loneliness that flashed across Lin Yi's face. Lin Yi's words made everyone who had just finished eating fall into silence. The first time Lin Yi was injured and became a cripple, he had mentioned returning to the West Star Mountain Village. Although many of his subordinates weren't around at that time, he had heard the news from others after the incident. This time, Lin Yi had to go back again. Clearly, he had reached the end of his rope and was at his wit's end. This was not what everyone wanted to see. "Boss, wherever you go, I'll follow. Although you don't need me to be your bodyguard, I can still help out." Wu Qintian was the first to say that he wanted to follow Lin Yi back to West Star Mountain Village. "I don't have much to do, so I'll just bring Jishan and Jihai to Mr. Lin's old home for a stroll." "Just treat it as a vacation," Old Pai smiled and said casually. "Haha, Old Pai, it seems like we have the same idea. We don't have much to do in House Han, so we'll just go for a vacation." Old Han Tianba also said, "We won't be happy if you guys don't bring us along. We're all the boss's subordinates. Why can you guys go, but we can't?" Zhuang Miao Qiang immediately said. Hearing the words of his subordinates, Lin Yi was very touched, especially the two Zhuang brothers who followed him. Lin Yi felt that the people around him were very loyal. These people would be the backbone of Lin Yi's strength when he raised them to Sky Class and stepped into the Ancient level. "Of course I'll welcome you guys as guests." Lin Yi didn't say anything else and only nodded to them before turning to Meng Yao and Yushu. Yao, what do you think?" "Shu and I will be fine, but I'll have to inform Dad first." Meng Yao was naturally very happy to follow Lin Yi back to his old home, but she acted very calm on the surface, as if it was something normal. Yao, it's just the two of us this time. You have to take this chance and fight for the top spot." Yushu raised her fist and encouraged. "Shu!" Meng Yao kicked Yushu under the table. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "I'm not. I'm just telling the truth." Yushu pouted, feeling wronged. "What do you mean only the two of you? Weren't you the ones who went with me last time?" Lin Yi felt that his thoughts were a mess. Lin Yi vaguely remembered that the last time he went to West Star Village was with Meng Yao and Yushu, but it didn't seem like it. Meng Yao glared at Yushu, annoyed. She wasn't angry about the top spot, but the fact that it was just the two of them this time. This would definitely cause Lin Yi to misunderstand. So it really did happen, didn't it? Yushu realized that she'd let the cat out of the bag and laughed. It was the same last time, but Yao Yao didn't take the initiative last time. All right, Shu, let's not talk about this anymore. I'll call Dad now and tell him about this. Meng Yao went along with Yushu's words and changed the topic. With that, Meng Yao picked up her phone and dialed Pingzhan's number. Lin Yi was confused, but he didn't want to disturb Meng Yao while she was on the phone. Meng Yao briefly told Pingzhan about Lin Yi's injury, to which Pingzhan said that he'd rush over with Faubert immediately. Pingzhan was currently expanding in Donghai, but he was usually busy, so he could rush over in no time. As expected, not long after, Faubert drove Pingzhan and son Luoyue to Lin Yi's villa. They were in the middle of a meeting when Meng Yao called, and son Luoyue had returned to normal. Naturally, she was helping Pingzhan's new company in Donghai as an assistant, so she could accompany Faubert more often. How did this happen? Faubert was shocked when he saw Lin Yi's injury. He was one of the people who knew about Lin Yi's miraculous abilities. Wasn't Lin Yi able to heal himself? Why couldn't he do it this time? Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he told Li Fu and Pingzhan about the trouble he'd run into. The miss hadn't been able to explain it clearly on the phone, either, and she'd only given a vague summary of the situation. Chapter 2956. Li Fu, actually, Mr. Lin Yi's problem isn't incurable. Sun Luoyue listened to Lin Yi's current situation and thought for a moment before saying, the main problem now is that as long as Mr. Lin's meridians and Dantian are healed, and he takes 2 Qi gathering pills, he can break through the barrier of the Earth class and ascend to the Sky class. That way, the effects of the poison will be neutralized. Luoyue, we know that, but the problem is, how do we heal his meridians and Dantian? Lin Yi's Dantian is broken, and he can't refine the pills. Faubert smiled bitterly. I'm not talking about the pills. Sun Luoyue shook her head. Did you forget about our Sun family's inner force? You mean you? Uncle Fu stared blankly for a moment before asking doubtfully. But right now, besides healing me, you can't heal anyone else, can you? It's not me. Sun Luoyue shook her head. You mean Jean Yi? Faubert finally understood what Sun Luoyue was trying to say. He slapped his forehead and said, how could I forget about your family's exclusive inner force technique? If Jean Yi helps, then Mr. Lin's problem can be easily solved. But to repair the Dantian, you need to reach the 2nd level of the technique. The 1st level is not enough. Sun Luoyue shook her head and said, I'm only at the 1st level. I can't repair the Dantian. Isn't the 2nd level able to heal 2 people? Why does it need the 2nd level to repair the Dantian? Faubert asked doubtfully. The Dantian's complexity is no less than a person's meridians. It's just that there aren't many cultivators with a broken Dantian, so it's not a special case. Actually, the 2nd level means that it can heal 2 people, including the meridians, but not the Dantian. Sun Luoyue said, this method can only work if Jean Yi works hard. Jean Yi's technique has actually reached the 2nd level. Lin Yi interrupted Faubert and Sun Luoyue's argument. What? You've reached the 2nd level? Faubert and Sun Luoyue were surprised. Really? How can her cultivation speed be so fast? It's true, but she relied on the energy stone that Faubert's sect brought back, said Lin Yi. Faubert, I even asked you about it that time. So it's that energy stone. Faubert was enlightened. That's great. Hurry up and contact Jingyi. Although I'm her father, we haven't acknowledged each other yet. It's not good to tell her about these things. On the other hand, although Lin Yi was sure that Sun Jingyi could repair his meridians and Dantian, he was a little embarrassed. After all, this was equivalent to wasting 2 of Sun Jingyi's healing targets. From now on, Sun Jingyi couldn't do anything other than focus on healing him. Wasn't this the same as harming her? From now on, her future cultivation would be completely for him. This was really embarrassing for Lin Yi, so Lin Yi asked, can I only repair the Dantian and not the meridians? Sun Luoyue was slightly stunned, but she still said, it's possible to repair the meridians and not the Dantian, but it's not possible to repair the dantian without the meridians. If you want to repair the dantian, you must go through the meridians. If your meridians are fine, naturally you can repair the dantian alone, but now you can't. I see. Lin, he felt helpless. He didn't know if he should call Sun Jingyi. Mr. Lin, you are our family savior. Even Jingyi wouldn't be alive now if you didn't sacrifice yourself to save us in Wulenhate Mountains. She will definitely agree. Faubert saw Lin Yi's hesitation and persuaded. Yeah, isn't Jingyi sis your half-lover? If something happens to your half-lover, she will definitely help. The miss was disappointed that she couldn't go back to West Star Village, but Lin Yi's recovery was what she wanted to see the most. As for Sun Jingyi's jealousy, she wasn't jealous anymore. After all, she was Faubert's daughter. No matter who she fought with, she wouldn't fight with Shu and Sun Jingyi because they were the most important people by her side. Just like Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao before, and now Ling Shan and Wang Xinyan. These people who sacrificed their lives to save her and Lin Yi. The miss had no reason to hate them. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and made up his mind. With Qintian's help, he called Sun Jingyi. Not long after the call connected, Sun Jingyi's lazy voice came from the other side. Lin Yi, you looking for me? Why are you sleeping at this time? Lin Yi froze when he heard Sun Jingyi's voice. Yeah, because I've been training lately, I've been jet lagging. You didn't come looking for me and left me alone in the hotel, and I'm starting to get confused. Sun Jingyi's voice sounded a little bitter. The test is over, and you didn't come looking for me. You didn't go back to house, Sun? Lin Yi was surprised. He didn't think that Sun Jingyi would still be in the hotel. No, you didn't ask me to go back, Sun Jingyi said. Then can you come to my villa now? I have something to discuss with you. Lin Yi said. Now? To your villa? Meng Yao and Yushu aren't there? Sun Jingyi was confused. Yeah, you'll know when you come. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't really like Sun Jingyi before, because Sun Jingyi seduced Lin Yi in front of them the first time they went to a bar. It made Sun Jingyi feel embarrassed, so she wouldn't appear in front of them if there wasn't anything special. Okay, I'll go now, Sun Jingyi said and hung up. Sun Jingyi's hotel was nearby, and after about 10 minutes, Sun Jingyi's car stopped in front of the villa. Huh? Why are there so many people? Sun Jingyi entered the villa and realized that it was like a big meeting. There were so many people in the living room, and when Sun Jingyi's eyes fell on Sun Luoyue, she was surprised for a moment. But when she saw Lin Yi in the wheelchair, she couldn't care less and asked nervously, Lin Yi, what's wrong? Let Qintian talk about this. Lin Yi had explained it many times already, so he let Qintian tell his problem to Sun Jingyi. Chapter 29:57. But as she said that, Sun Jingyi's face reddened noticeably, something only she and Sun Luoyue understood. There's no rush, this is just the first step. Even if I fix my meridians and dantian, I don't have a qi gathering pill on hand. Besides, one won't do, I'd have to take 2 in a row. Lin Yi said, of course, it'd be even better if we could find the antidote. We wouldn't need qi gathering pills anymore. You wouldn't even need to help me heal. There shouldn't be an antidote for this. Fu Bai shook his head and said, I've heard of this poison when I was at the same level, but I've never heard of it having an antidote. Generally, those who are poisoned by this poison will be crippled if they don't use a qi gathering pill to break through. But if they use a qi gathering pill to break through, they will also be crippled. They will be stuck at a certain level unless the sect is very strong and has an endless supply of qi gathering pills. But I'm afraid that besides the Heavenly Elixir School, no other sect can refine so many qi gathering pills. There really isn't. Lin Yi sighed. It looks like we'll have to go back to West Star Village. We can't stay here until we find 2 qi gathering pills. The Sky Elixir sect might have solved the problem with the Dark Palace today, but there's no guarantee that they'll come back for revenge tomorrow. What? The people from the Dark Palace are here? Peng Zhan heard Lin Yi's words and looked at Lin Yi, agitated. Uncle Chu, you know about the Dark Palace? Lin Yi paused, not understanding. They're here for trouble today. Peng Zhan was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. They're here for trouble? For what? It's not for anything. They're just looking for trouble. With that, Lin Yi told Pingzhan about the Dark Palace. They're here for the third-level pill? Pingzhan let out a breath of relief. Nothing else? No. Is there anything else I should ask for? Lin Yi asked curiously. Nothing. Pengzhan shook his head absent-mindedly, as if remembering something. Uncle Chu, is there something wrong with this Dark Palace? Lin Yi felt that Pengzhan was hiding something. No, it's fine. Pengzhan waved his hand. Let's not talk about this. When are you guys planning to go back? Since it's been confirmed, it's naturally better to do it as soon as possible. A long night is fraught with problems, Lin Yi said. All right, tomorrow it is. You guys pack up, Faubert, and I will send you off. Pengzhan nodded. There's no need to send us off. We'll leave on our own. It's better to keep a low profile. Lin Yi said, I said the sooner the better, but I'm not saying tomorrow. There are probably a lot of people watching here, and even if I leave, they'll be able to stop me on the way. I want to wait, at least for now. The Dark Palace won't come looking for trouble, and the other forces will have to think about their own strength to avoid angering the Hidden House Yu and Sky Elixir. Chu Pingzhan nodded. All right, you decide for yourself then. Jingyi, it's a little sad right now, but I have something good to tell you. Lin Yi turned his head to Sun Jingyi. What is it? Sun Jingyi was thinking about something embarrassing, her face red as she lowered her head. She couldn't help but be shocked when Lin Yi spoke to her. What do you want to say? Your parents aren't actually dead. Lin Yi didn't know what Sun Jingyi was thinking about, but he didn't think too much about it. What? My parents aren't dead? Sun Jingyi's eyes widened, and all her thoughts were thrown to the back of her head. Suddenly, she thought of something and looked at Sun Luoyiwe in shock. That's right, you might have guessed it already. Faubert and Grandma Sun are actually your birth parents. Lin Yi nodded. Sun Jingyi's eyes reddened, but she didn't doubt Lin Yi's words. Lin Yi must have done a lot of research to be able to tell her with such certainty, and Sun Luoyiwe's appearance proved it even more. However, Sun Jingyi never thought that Faubert and Grandma Sun were her parents. Jingyi Lili is right. Luoyiwe and I are your parents. Faubert looked at Sun Jingyi nervously and expectantly and said slowly, Actually, when you guys came back from Wulong Haut Mountain Range, I knew about it when Lin Yi took out the energy stone. It's just that your mom and I have a strong enemy, and we were afraid that it would affect you, so we didn't acknowledge you. But I didn't expect that even if we didn't acknowledge each other, we still caused trouble a while ago, and almost harmed you and Lin Yi. Luckily, it's all over now. Is this true? I'm not dreaming, am I? Sun Jingyi felt that today's events were like a dream. Lin Yi was injured, and she found her birth parents. Jingyi sis, Faubert is really your father. Mengyao also knew about this from Lin Yi and Faubert. Sun Jingyi suddenly understood. No wonder Mingyao's attitude toward her changed so much. It was because she was Faubert's daughter. Sun Jingyi's guess was right. Mengyao really thought so. Faubert treated her like his own daughter, and he saved her many times. Now that Faubert found his daughter, although this daughter seemed to have some relationship issues with Lin Yi, Mengyao still accepted it gladly. Just because she was Faubert's daughter, she was no different from her own sister. Just like how she usually treated her, she never treated her as an outsider, and she wouldn't fight with her. Dad, Mom. These were the words that were buried deep in Sun Jingyi's heart for many years. She thought that it would be very heavy, but when she said it out loud, it was incomparably light. Jingyi, Sun Luoyiwe, was the first to cry. Faubert, on the other hand, was much stronger. He kept smiling at Sun Jingyi. Mom. Sun Jingyi pursed her lips and took a step forward, jumping into Sun Luoyiwe's arms. Although everyone thought it was funny that Sun Jingyi would do something like this, they could understand how Sun Jingyi felt. Chapter 2958. Mengyao sighed softly at the thought. But where was her mother? Sun Jingyi had just acknowledged her parents, and Faubert and Grandma Sun dragged her into the house for a chat. Outside the house, Lin Yi and the others were discussing when to leave, but just as they were discussing, there was a knock on the door. Shin Tian went to open the door, and it was Han Jingjing. Linny bro, how are you? Han Jingjing rushed into the villa and saw Lin Yi in the wheelchair. Her face was filled with worry. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's travel-worn appearance. Lin Yi didn't want to disturb Han Jingjing's practice, so he didn't tell Han Xiaoqiao to inform Han Jingjing, but the commotion outside the villa must have startled the bookworm, so he told her when Han Jingjing came out to eat. Because Lin Yi saw the corner of Han Jingjing's mouth, there were biscuit crumbs. She must have just eaten, but he didn't know why she looked like she just came back from a long journey. "I'm just injured." "Jingjing, you're out of practice?" Lin Yi asked, "But how many days have you not slept for? Why do you look so tired?" "1 day and 1 night. It's nothing." Jingjing heard that Lin Yi bro was injured, so I rushed over. Han Jingjing said, "Is there anything Jingjing can help with?" "Not at the moment." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to find a chance to test his alchemy skills after the test, but he was busy condensing the forging fire and neglected alchemy. He didn't expect that he would be crippled now, and he couldn't do alchemy anymore. "Right, Jingjing. I plan to go to Star West Village in a few days. Do you want to come?" Back to the West Star Mountain Village? Han Jingjing was slightly taken aback. Lin Yi told Han Jingjing about his plan to return to the West Star Mountain Village to take refuge temporarily. However, after Han Jingjing heard it, her eyes flashed with an imperceptible envy and expectation, but she concealed it very well. She only said with regret, I can't leave during these few days of research. Otherwise, all my previous efforts will be wasted. Is that so? It doesn't matter. You shouldn't provoke any enemies by cultivating in seclusion here. Just be careful." Lin Yi nodded. "If worst comes to worst, you can hide in Hidden House Han, Hidden House Pai, or Hidden House Shuang. There's no need for that. I'll just stay here and train in seclusion." Han Jingjing said, "Big brother Lin Yi, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first, and go back and rest early. Don't think too much. This matter will be over soon." Lin Yi comforted her. Han Jingjing nodded her head and left without saying anything else. On the highway from Donghai to Yanjing, a car sped through the night. The everyday and everyday sect. "Chunyang, how's Naipeo?" Pin Liang had no news of Naipeo walking out of his heart's demon for a few days now, so he came to ask Chunyang's Sky Master worriedly. His body had the mind of the Mad Dragon Master, but it also had Pin Liang's thoughts. Naipeo was still his follower. "Master, Zhang Naipeo is still in solitary practicing and hasn't gotten rid of the demon in his heart. This time, Lin Yi dealt him too much of a blow." Pure Yang smiled bitterly. "This is a tribulation that all practitioners of the chrysanthemum arts have to go through. When you're in high spirits, you'll receive a fatal blow and walk out of your heart's demon. You'll reach a higher level in your martial arts, but once you take it too hard, you'll be stuck in a dead end for the rest of your life. Then what's the solution?" Pin Liang frowned. "Walking out of the heart demon himself is the best way, but if that doesn't work, then we'll have to kill the person who made it happen, forcing him to walk out of it. But there's a downside to that as well. Killing Lin Yi would cause Naipeo to lose the motivation to train, and that wouldn't be worth it." Chunyang explained. "I see." Pin Liang frowned. "But if he can't walk out of his heart's demon forever, wouldn't that be even worse? How about this? We'll wait a bit. If Pao can't walk out his own heart's demon, then we'll let Chunin go and kill Lin Yi." "Chunin?" Chunyang paused. Chunin was his disciple, but he was a training maniac who didn't pay much attention to the sex affairs. Other than seclusion, he was always in seclusion. He was sky-class late-phase peak now, and if he were to kill Lin Yi, then Lin Yi would die for sure. But Chunyang was a little worried. "Master, our everyday and everyday sect is interfering with the common world affairs. Won't that cause trouble?" "What kind of trouble?" "Just let him disguise himself and not let others find out." Pin Liang said casually, "Don't you know what assassination is?" Chunyang's mouth twitched. This was the first time he heard of an ancient sect sending someone to kill someone, and they had to disguise themselves. Even though the everyday and everyday sect was a demonic sect, they still had their own principles. They wouldn't play games of hiding their identities, because ancient sects had their own pride. However, Mad Dragon's master still had Pin Liang's soul and thoughts in his body. Hence, That crooked method naturally affected Pinliang's thoughts, causing Pinliang to come up with this idea that Chunyang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Disguise. This isn't something that can be easily disguised. Techniques, strength, and figure, as long as someone is willing to investigate, they will be able to find out and implicate our everyday and everyday sect. Pure Yang Empyrean said with a bitter smile. Then he has no evidence. Besides, Lin Yi is dead. Who can avenge him? Among these ancient sects, apart from the Five Elements sect, who else dares to provoke us? Pinliang curled his lips. Besides, we killed Lin Yi because of Zhang Naipeo. Even if Five Elements sect finds out, we're still doing it for the plan. Someone as important as Zhang Naipeo is in trouble. Five Elements sect won't just sit and watch. Makes sense. It was only then that Chun Yang remembered that Naipeo was an important part of the plan as well. As long as the Five Elements sect stood on his side, there wouldn't be any problems. He nodded. All right, it's settled then. Let's have Chun-Ying go. Chapter 2959. So, either something big had happened, or it was a disciple who didn't know the rules. Master Mad Dragon Master, I have something to report. The one who spoke was the follower of Pure Yang Sky Master. Come in. Upon hearing his follower's voice, Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang knew that something big must have happened. Hence, he let him in and asked what happened. According to the information, Master Mad Dragon told us to keep a close eye on Lin Yi. He was poisoned, and his meridians and dantian were destroyed. He's a cripple now, the follower said. Oh, what's going on? Tell me in detail. Pinliang paused and asked. It's like this. The follower told Pinliang the news he got. It wasn't a secret that Lin Yi had a falling out with the hidden house Zhao, being poisoned and having his meridians and dantian destroyed. The Dark Palace went to cause trouble for Lin Yi, but they were stopped by the young master of the Sky Elixir sect. However, Pinliang didn't mind Sky Silkworm Transformation's interference. These two were completely different people, so how could they be related? As far as he was concerned, Sky Silkworm Transformation was just to show that Sky Elixir sect was fair and just to attract more participants to the next Sky Elixir sect test. This is good news. Lin Yi has so many enemies. Even if we don't do anything, someone else will. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang said, Master, if someone else were to take action, it would save us the trouble of hiding it. Then let's wait and see. If no one else does, then we'll kill Lin Yi. Pinliang nodded in agreement. Hidden House Zhao. These few days, Hidden House Zhao had been paying close attention to Lin Yi's movements, hoping that someone would kill Lin Yi. So when the black-clothed elder appeared, they were very excited, but they didn't expect that Zhao Qibing would lose an arm and the black-clothed elder would leave quietly. Zhao Qikuan, does Lin Yi know the young master of the Sky Elixir sect? Sky Silkworm Transformation? Old Zhao felt that something was fishy. Why did the Sky Elixir sect have to do something like this? In the past, these ancient sects were all high and mighty existence. Old Zhao didn't even see them once in a few years. Why did they all appear all of a sudden? Nope. Even if someone were to appear, it would be the vice leader of the Ice Palace, Feng Xiao, not Silkworm Shapeshifter. Qikuan, naturally, didn't mention that Shapeshifter had asked him about Lin Yi during the test. In fact, Qikuan didn't think much about it. He didn't want to cause trouble. As far as he was concerned, Silkworm went to ask about Lin Yi during sake. It wasn't strange. This was the Silkworm Lin. Sky C. T. Silkworm Chio S. Qikuan. T. Sky, how's he doing now? I heard that he's already in Sky class. Old Zhao asked concernedly. He couldn't ignore this. Now that Qikuan was back, if he didn't take care of his relationship with Qijio, it would affect the unity of House Zhao. It would be fine if Qijio was just a normal Earth class, but if he was Sky class, what would happen if he got into a conflict with Qibing? He should be Sky class. Qikuan wasn't too sure himself. After all, everyone in House Zhao had seen Qijio's letter. What he knew, the others knew too. Here, if you're free these days, go to the Ice Palace. Tell him that I told you to come and see him. If he's missing or missing anything, our hidden house Zhao will take care of it for him. I'll write another letter myself later to encourage him. When he comes back, I'll let him join the hidden house you, someone like you, following Qibing around. Old Zhao said. Hearing old Zhao's words, Qikuan didn't say anything on the surface, but he was smiling coldly in his heart. How could he not know what old Zhao was thinking? Promised Qijio great benefits and let him join Qibing's side. As far as old Zhao was concerned, Qijio used to follow Qikuan, but he was still a part of House Zhao. His loyalty to House Zhao should be higher than Qikuan's. As long as he served House Zhao, as long as he didn't betray House Zhao, he could totally join old Zhao's side. What old Zhao was doing was actually a ploy as well. Qijio, as a disciple of the hidden House Zhao, had to send a letter back, and it was impossible for Qikuan to hide old Zhao's letter and not send it out. He'd just expressed his goodwill to House Zhao, and now he was betraying House Zhao again. Of course, old Zhao underestimated Qijio's loyalty. Qijio was the same as Qikuan. During the Ice Palace test, he was indebted to Lin Yi's help. He was just like Qikuan, grateful to Lin Yi. As long as Qikuan didn't betray Lin Yi, Qijio wouldn't betray Qikuan. What hidden house Zhao? In Qijio's eyes, it was nothing. If he stayed in the Ice Palace like this, he'd be able to get the position of an outer elder. There were no men in the inner sect, but the manager of the inn, Li, was living a good life, wasn't he? Yes, Grandpa. Qikuan pretended to hesitate before nodding. His expression, however, was a little unnatural. Of course, it was all an act. Old Zhao saw this and was very pleased with Qikuan's performance. If Qikuan had agreed right away, he wouldn't have believed it at all. The more hesitant he was, the more it represented the struggle in his heart. The final decision was the most effective one. I'll write the letter now. There was a reason why old Zhao sent Qikuan away. Qibing was studying in the Dark Palace and wasn't at home. If Qikuan were to stay here, he might use his connections to form an alliance with the other members of House Zhao. Old Zhao was the head of the house, but he knew that this was a problem. The only solution was to make sure that Qikuan wasn't at House Zhao. Even if he didn't have the excuse of visiting Qijio, he would still find a reason to make him leave. Chapter 2960. At home, old Zhao praised Qijio profusely, hoping that he would return and contribute to House Zhao. Elder Bai had passed away, and Elder Mian had taken over his position. But Elder Mian was old, after all, and the younger generation needed to find another disciple to take over his position. Old Zhao hinted that it would be Qijio. Qikuan looked at old Zhao's letter, smiling coldly inside. Old Zhao had said that Elder Mian's position was his, and now it was Qijio's. But Qikuan didn't care about Elder Mian's position at all, so he pretended that he didn't peek and looked around. This letter, just give it to Qijio. Old Zhao didn't even show it to Qikuan after writing it, sealing it up and putting the seal of House Zhao on it before giving it to him. Okay, Grandpa. Qikuan was much more obedient after the mental struggle. He took the letter respectfully. When do I leave? You should pack up and set off today. Old Zhao wanted to send Qikuan away as soon as possible, so he decided Qikuan's fate with a wave of his hand. Qikuan didn't say anything, just nodded and went back to his room to pack up. But what made him feel regretful was that he couldn't get the recipe for the poison. The food was gone when he and Qibing sent Lenny away, and there was nothing left. He could only wait for the recipe, but no one brought it up after that. Not even Qikuan himself. After packing up, Qikuan drove towards the Ice Palace. He had wanted to go take a look at Lin Yi, but he didn't want to cause trouble. After all, who knew if old Zhao trusted him or not? Would he be watching him in secret? In fact, old Zhao really did ask Elder Mian to follow Qikuan for a while, and when he saw that Qikuan was really heading towards the Ice Palace, he returned to the hidden house. Although Faubert and Sun Luoyue were overjoyed at the reunion with Sun Jingyi, they still had their own things to do. Peng Zhan's company was in a period of growth, especially after giving Lin Yi such a large sum of money to support Fatty Lai's company. Peng Zhan and Faubert had no choice but to work even harder. In order to save on expenses, they had to do many things themselves. And so, The next morning, Pengzhan left Lin Yi's villa with Faubert and son Luoyue, while son Jingyi stayed behind to treat Lin Yi's wounds. Jingyi, should we start healing now? Meng Yao and Yushu went to school to deal with their exams. Lin Yi had special privileges, but they didn't. They had to apply for leave. Now, son Jingyi, on the other hand, wasn't as generous as before. She was a little shy after hearing Lin Yi's words. Jingyi, if you think it's too hard, then forget it. I'll think of something else. Even if my meridians and dantian recover, there's no medicine for me to take, Lin Yi said quickly, thinking that son Jingyi was regretting her decision. No, son Jingyi shook her head. I'm already very happy to be able to help you. You've always been helping me, saving me, but I'm afraid that Yao Yao won't be happy. Her? How could she not be happy? She'd be happy to see you heal me, wouldn't she? Lin Yi found it strange. When healing, I need to take off my clothes. Son Jingyi had shed her strong woman facade and was no different from a normal girl. She was only 1 or 2 years older than Lin Yi, so it was reasonable for her to be shy. Take off my clothes? Lin Yi blinked, but then smiled. Why would Yao Yao be unhappy if I take off my clothes? It's not like she's the one taking off her clothes. Besides, a doctor has the heart of a parent. At that time, Yao Yao was still naked, and I cured her. Lin Yi, it's not you taking off your clothes. It's the two of us taking off our clothes together. Son Jingyi blushed as she explained, but she was a little surprised. The miss was such a conservative person, yet she'd take off her clothes in front of Lin Yi. Although Son Jingyi could see that the miss liked Lin Yi, it didn't mean that she would take off her clothes. After all, the two of them hadn't reached this kind of relationship yet. It seemed that the miss's guard against Lin Yi was much lower than she thought. You also want to take off your clothes? Lin Yi was a little surprised to hear Son Jingyi's words. Why do you want to take off your clothes? Ordinary healing, naturally not necessary, but to repair the meridians and dantian, I need to use a medium to transfer the qi in my body to all the acupuncture points in your body, so you must take off your clothes. Otherwise, as long as there is a barrier, it will be ineffective. Son Jingyi explained. Was the medium? Lin Yi suddenly realized. He was using his art of dragon mastery to estimate Son Jingyi's situation, but although the art of dragon mastery was similar to the Sun family's heart technique, it was different after all. The medium is water. We must be in the same closed pool so that the treatment can be completed. Son Jingyi said. 2 people take off their clothes and be in the same closed pool? Isn't that a couple's bath? Lin Yi thought about it and felt a little flirtatious. If Lin Yi didn't have any thoughts about Son Jingyi, it would be fine. However, Lin Yi also had a good impression of Son Jingyi. After all, he wasn't half a lover for nothing. The two had experienced so many things together, and they already had feelings for each other. You don't have to worry about Yao Yao and the other's feelings. This is mainly your own feelings. Lin Yi smiled bitterly after listening and said, You have made such a big sacrifice. Why do you still ask others? I myself am willing. Son Jingyi said softly. Looking at Son Jingyi, Lin Yi sighed slightly in his heart. It seemed that he owed another debt of love. Now he had Xiao Xiao and Xinyan. Although Miss and Shu didn't fully express their feelings, Lin Yi also felt that these things must be returned in the end. However, now Lin Yi had thought it through. He didn't have as many concerns as before. These girls could follow him and help him without hesitation when he was injured and in trouble. Lin Yi wasn't an iron heart. How could he not see it? Chapter 2961. This was a promise that Lin Yi made from the bottom of his heart. And Son Jingyi nodded shyly and happily. She could understand what Lin Yi meant and was very happy. Now, you know why my mom married my dad, right? But don't feel wronged. I have Xiao Xiao, Xinyan, the miss, and Shu by my side. Don't be sad, Lin Yi said. Xiao Xiao and I are so close. She even helped me to mess with Wu Qintian. She won't have anything to say about it. And with Xinyan's personality, she won't fight for anything. As for the miss, don't forget about my father. Son Jingyi was at ease and didn't feel any danger. You've thought it through. You didn't plan this beforehand, did you? Lin Yi smiled and joked. Yeah, I did it on purpose. Actually, we don't have to use water as a medium. I said water on purpose. Sun Jingyi smiled. I just wanted to upgrade our relationship from half lovers to full lovers. Huh, really? Lin Yi paused and asked. Really? Sun Jingyi nodded solemnly. Not only do we not have to use water as a medium, we can do it without a medium. Without a medium? Lin Yi was even more surprised. He felt that Sun Jingyi didn't sound like she was joking. Could it be true? And you can push me down too, Sun Jingyi said and looked at Lin Yi's stunned face and giggled. All right, we might as well use water as a medium. Although I think it's a good idea. Our development isn't that fast yet? Lin Yi asked. I think so too. Sun Jingyi nodded. It's a bit too fast to do it so quickly. Lin Yi nodded. Although he was slightly disappointed, he still respected Sun Jingyi's choice. Then when do we start healing? Anytime, Sun Jingyi said. But to be honest, you really don't need water as a medium. Other things can also be used as a medium. What else is there? Lin Yi didn't think that there was another way. For example, we can take off our clothes and bury us in the ground, or jump into a bonfire, or jump in a molten iron, or freeze us in ice. Anyway, among the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, other than wood, we can do it. Sun Jingyi explained. Forget it. Let's go with water. Lin Yi shook his head after hearing this. Although it was a little dirty to be buried in the ground, at least it was reliable. Jumping into a fire, molten iron, or freezing into ice. Weren't these all suicidal actions? Before he could heal himself, he had already died. Sun Jingyi also laughed. So I didn't lie to you. What I said was the simplest and most feasible method. Let's go. We'll take a bath together. Lin Yi was in a wheelchair, so it wasn't convenient for him to move. He could only let Sun Jingyi push him into the bathroom. Qin Tian and Pai Jishan, on the other hand, were a little surprised. Why was Jingyi pushing Lin Yi to the bathroom? After all, the two had been talking in Lin Yi's room, and now they were going to the bathroom? It was indeed surprising. Boss, what are you going to do? Qin Tian couldn't help but ask. It wasn't that he had feelings for Sun Jingyi. He was just worried about Lin Yi. Taking a bath together. Lin Yi joked. Don't disturb us. Oh. Qin Tian was full of questions, but it wasn't his place to ask. He could only watch as Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi walked in the bathroom. Since it was decided, Sun Jingyi didn't hold back anymore. After all, this wasn't the time to be reserved. She couldn't just wait for Lin Yi to help her take off her clothes, could she? Lin Yi was injured, and he couldn't take off his clothes. Only Sun Jingyi could do it for him. After filling the bathtub with water, Sun Jingyi slowly took off her clothes. Although her back was facing Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi could still feel her face burning. She didn't think that her first time being honest with Lin Yi would be under such circumstances. But this was good. Sun Jingyi gritted her teeth and took off the rest of her underwear before coming back to her senses. Lin Yi's breathing was a little rushed. Sun Jingyi's body was undoubtedly perfect. On her smooth skin, there was a healthy glow, long legs, a perfect body. Especially when Lin Yi's eyes moved to Sun Jingyi's upper body. He couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Although Lin Yi had seen Yao Yao and Shu when they weren't wearing clothes, that was only when he was treating them. This time, he was going to be in the same room with Sun Jingyi for a long time. The water in the bathtub was steaming, and it quickly filled the entire bathroom. This kind of hazy feeling made Lin Yi feel like he was in a fairyland, peeping at a fairy taking a bath. Especially when Sun Jingyi's delicate cheeks had a touch of blush and shallow dimples, it made the current Sun Jingyi had an indescribable temptation. Jingyi, don't tempt me, okay? Lin Yi had a physiological reaction, and he couldn't help but say with a bitter face, You're thinking too much, okay? I just want to treat your injuries. Sun Jingyi said seriously. Okay, then my clothes. Lin Yi could only lower his head and try not to look at Sun Jingyi. However, some things couldn't be easily forgotten after seeing it. Even if he didn't look at it, it would make his imagination run wild. I'll help you take it off. Sun Jingyi walked over, bent down, and started to help Lin Yi unbutton his shirt. However, this posture made Sun Jingyi's majestic chest jump into Lin Yi's eyes. Even if Lin Yi lowered his head, he could still feel the shining white in front of his eyes. especially the delicate fragrance on Sun Jingyi's body. It made it even more difficult for Lin Yi to refuse. His self-control, compared to when he first returned to Songshan, was indeed a lot worse. Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. Lin Yi didn't have much clothing on him, only a shirt and a pair of shorts. So Sun Jingyi quickly helped Lin Yi take off his shirt, but the shorts were a bit difficult to take off. Lin Yi sat in a wheelchair, and both his arms and legs were broken. He couldn't use any strength at all, so Sun Jingyi could only use her strength to forcibly tear off Lin Yi's shorts. Chapter 2962. Although it was strenuous for Sun Jingyi to pull, Lin Yi was relieved. Finally, there was no white in front of him. If he knew this, Lin Yi would rather not take advantage of this and let Sun Jingyi take off his clothes first. Jingyi, you can do it. Sun Jingyi gritted her teeth and encouraged herself. Then, she pulled Lin Yi's shorts hard with both her legs and hands. She pulled it down. Putong. There was a loud noise accompanied by Sun Jingyi's scream. Sun Jingyi fell down heavily, but Lin Yi's shorts were successfully pulled down. Because Sun Jingyi used too much force, and the ground under her feet was a bit slippery because of the fog. Sun Jingyi's body was leaning before, so she slipped and fell on the ground. But coincidentally, Sun Jingyi's head was actually lying in the middle of Lin Yi's legs. Ugh! Sun Jingyi felt that her face seemed to be stuck on top of an iron bar. Her face hurt, but she couldn't react to what it was for a while. She climbed up from the ground shakily and looked at what her face was stuck to. But with this look, Sun Jingyi was so shy that her face turned red. She didn't dare to look at Lin. Sun Jingyi thought that Lin Yi would think that she was a pervert and that it was intentional. But I really didn't do it on purpose. Ugh, if your angle was slightly crooked, maybe I would be disabled. Lin Yi saw that Sun Jingyi was embarrassed, and he couldn't help but make a joke. However, after being shocked by Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi couldn't care less about the ambiguity. Disabled. I will help you heal. Sun Jingyi also chuckled, and the awkward atmosphere between them instantly disappeared. I'll help you into the bathtub. As Sun Jingyi spoke, she helped Lin Yi into the bathtub. Then, she jumped in and sat opposite Lin Yi. The two of them sat facing each other, which made Lin Yi's heart, which had calmed down a little, jump up again. Then what? Lin Yi tried his best not to think about those messy things. He constantly reminded himself that the most important thing was to heal his injuries. Other things could wait. Put your hand on me and don't do anything. Just wait for me to heal you. Sun Jingyi said. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and put his hand on Sun Jingyi's shoulder. How can there be acupuncture points on my shoulder? Can't you go somewhere else? Sun Jingyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Go somewhere else. Lin Yi was stunned. With his posture and angle, in addition to putting his hand on Sun Jingyi's shoulder, the rest was touching her chest. But how could this work? Hurry up. Sun Jingyi didn't think so much. She was thinking about running the Sun family's mantra to heal Lin Yi, so she ignored this point. Okay. Lin Yi clenched his teeth. Since you're already so bold, I'm not going to be a pushover. After that, Lin Yi's hands pressed on Sun Jingyi's chest. Yeah, Sun Jingyi was shocked when her chest was attacked. Although the target of the attack was Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi still shrank her body subconsciously. What are you doing? Aren't you healing? Is your hand healed? It's not healed. My arm is injured. I can only barely stretch it out. You don't let me touch your shoulder, so I can only move down. It can only be here. Lin Yi saw that Sun Jingyi really didn't seem to have any special meaning before. He misunderstood, so he apologized. Sun Jingyi was reminded by Lin Yi that Lin Yi's arm was injured. At this angle, if he didn't put it on his shoulder, he could only touch his chest. But, you touch me, and I can't calm down to circulate the mantra. Sun Jingyi felt that since she had decided to follow Lin Yi, then it was nothing to be touched by Lin Yi. However, her heart was beating fast. How could she calm down to circulate the mantra? Then you turn around. I will put my hand on your back. Lin Yi also felt that the current action made him a little uneasy, so he said, and Sun Jingyi nodded and turned around. Lin Yi put his hand on Sun Jingyi's smooth back, but even so, Lin Yi's heart still beat faster. After all, this couple bath itself was very ambiguous, and the others stimulated Lin Yi's senses. After taking a few deep breaths, Sun Jingyi calmed down and began to circulate the mantra of the Sun family. After all, it was the first time that Sun Jingyi used the mantra to save someone. Before this, Sun Jingyi had never treated anyone, so she could only fumble forward. Fortunately, the Sun family's mantra was very mature. After circulating, Sun Jingyi didn't feel anything, but Lin Yi was surprised to find that there was an endless amount of qi in the water flowing into his meridians along the acupuncture points of his body. It began to quickly nourish and repair his injuries and meridians. This feeling was the same as when Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery to heal himself, but the only difference was that Lin Yi didn't need to do anything. He only needed to enjoy it unilaterally. It's effective. It feels exactly the same as when I heal myself, Lin Yi said affirmatively to Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi heard Lin Yi's words and let out a breath of relief. She continued to circulate the mantra, helping Lin Yi heal himself. Meng Yao and Yushu returned home from school, but they didn't see Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi. Instead, they saw Chuntian and the others sitting in the living room, as if waiting for something. Wu Chuntian, where's Lin Yi? Meng Yao looked at Lin Yi's room curiously. Lin Yi's door was open, but Lin Yi wasn't inside. Bossy, Chuntian hesitated, not sure if he should say it, but he didn't want to lie to Meng Yao. There was no way he could lie about this. He remembered that Lin Yi didn't tell him to keep it a secret when he went into the shower. Boss and Sun Jingyi. They're in the shower. Ah. Meng Yao paused and looked at the bathroom in disbelief. She felt an uncomfortable sourness in her heart, but remembering that Sun Jingyi was Falbert's daughter, and that she and Lin Yi used to be half lovers or something, she didn't want to care too much about it. She nodded as if nothing was wrong. Why are they taking a shower? Lin Yi's injuries healed? I don't know. Chuntian shook his head. Chapter 2963. Meng Yao frowned and glared at Yushu. She didn't think that Sun Jingyi was that kind of person. Besides, even if she did push him down, wouldn't she do it in Lin Yi's room? Why did she have to go to the bathroom? Besides, even if Lin Yi was injured, he wouldn't let Sun Jingyi push him down just like that. It didn't make sense at all. Shoo, don't talk nonsense. They must be doing something important, Meng Yao said. Don't cause trouble. Oh, Yushu was just saying it casually. She didn't really dare to barge into the bathroom. I just thought that since Jingyi sis pushed Shield Bro down, we can go in and play 4P together. If you want to play, then play by yourself. I'll open the door for you. Meng Yao was a little annoyed by Yushu's words. Naturally, she wasn't in a good mood. I'm the small wife, of course. I'll let the big wife do it. Yushu stuck her tongue out. She really didn't dare. After all, House Yuzu was very strict with her. Although Yushu really liked Lin, she didn't dare cross the line and put her parents in danger. Meng Yao curled her lips. Naturally, she didn't believe Yushu's words. She felt that Yushu was only good at talking. She had always been like this. I'm watching TV. With that, Meng Yao picked up the remote control and switched to a channel with Pleasant Goat. In fact, Meng Yao was a little annoyed herself. Her eyes were on the TV, but her mind was in the bathroom. Although she believed in Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi, she couldn't guess what they were doing in the bathroom. Yushu, on the other hand, was enjoying the show. It pissed Meng Yao off. She was the one who wanted to go to the bathroom, and now she was the one who didn't have a care in the world. Chintan and the others saw that the two mistresses didn't look too happy, so they sat on the side and waited for Lin Yi to come out. Happy Goat was done, and Meng Yao switched to another sitcom. She wasn't the slightest bit interested in the male and female protagonist's lovey-dovey relationship. Yushu, on the other hand, was commenting from time to time. Yao Yao, look, this girl's breasts aren't even as big as mine, and she's called a pop goddess. Yao Yao, look at that girl. She's so ugly, she's not even half as pretty as you are, and she's still a otaku goddess. That's enough. If you think you have big breasts, then go act on TV. Meng Yao was getting annoyed by Yushu and was just about to throw a glare at her when she heard something for the bathroom door. Meng Yao turned around subconsciously and was surprised to see Lin Yi walking out of the bathroom. Behind him was Sun Jingyi, who looked tired and a little shy. Lin Yi, are you all right? Meng Yao was surprised and overjoyed. So Sun Jingyi went to treat Lin Yi. It seemed like she had misunderstood her before. No matter what she did with Lin Yi in the bathroom, it was all for Lin Yi's sake. Meng Yao was relieved at that moment. Jingyi sis, you're the one who treated Lin Yi, right? Thank you. Yao Yao, treating Lin Yi is what I should do. We're good friends, you don't have to thank me. Sun Jingyi shook her head. She didn't think it was wrong to do something like that for Lin Yi. Yao Yao, Jingyi, we're family now, you and Shu. Don't make things difficult for her. Lin Yi felt the need to hint. Lin Yi didn't think that Meng Yao and Yushu would do something stupid like that now, but they did reject Xiao Xiao before. Why would I? Meng Yao understood Lin Yi's hint right away. She looked at Sun Jingyi thoughtfully, envious of her for some reason. But on the surface, she said naturally, Jingyi's sis is Falbert's daughter, so she's like my real sister. Yeah. Yao Yao sis's sister is Shu's sister, Yushu said straightforwardly. She never objected to what Meng Yao accepted. But why did you guys go to the bathroom? Wu Qintian said you guys want to bathe together? Meng Yao had accepted Sun Jingyi's existence, but she was still curious. She pretended to be nonchalant and asked casually. It's like this. Jingyi needs a medium to heal. Lin Yi didn't hide anything and explained why he and Jingyi went to the bathroom to bathe together to Meng Yao, Yushu, and Qintian. Although Lin Yi said it lightly, Meng Yao could still imagine the scene of a man and a woman alone in the bathroom. She was only envious, not jealous. She only nodded, I see. Thank you, Jingyi sis. The next step is to look for the Qi gathering pill, right? Yes, I'll call Kong Ming Ming from the Sky Elixir sect later and ask him when he can make the pill. But don't spread the news that I'm healed. After all, I'm only healed, but my strength hasn't recovered yet. I'm afraid that House Zhao or the other houses will send people to cause trouble for me, Lin Yi said. Okay, boss, we'll keep this a secret. Qintian nodded immediately. Lin Yi went back to his room to call Kong Ming Ming, while Meng Yao pulled Sun Jingyi away to whisper to her, trying to find out what they did in the bathroom. Sun Jingyi was Falbert's daughter, but she didn't take advantage of her seniority. She knew very well how important Meng Yao was to Lin Yi, so naturally, she would try her best to maintain a good relationship with Meng Yao. When Meng Yao asked about what happened in the bathroom, Sun Jingyi didn't hide anything. She even told him about how she helped Lin Yi take off his pants and threw it on the floor, and her face was on Lin Yi's spot. Shu and Yao Yao laughed when they heard that. Meng Yao let down her guard after seeing Sun Jingyi's honesty. Lin Yi called Kong Ming Ming directly. Kong Ming was confused about Lin Yi's call. Hello, Lin Yi. Kong Ming Ming was surprised that Lin Yi was still in a mood to call him, even though he was crippled. How optimistic was he? Kong Ming Ming, are you done with my Qi gathering pill? Lin Yi didn't waste time with him and asked directly. Qi gathering pill. Kong Ming Ming paused. Lin Yi's Dantian was crippled. Why would he need the pill? Chapter 2964. Originally, Lin Yi said it casually, but when he heard Kong Ming Ming's tone, he had some doubts in his heart. So it really has something to do with you? Of course not. Kong Ming Ming denied. I am an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Why would I poison? But the hidden Yao Wang of the right family is proficient in poison. Oh! Lin Yi heard that Kong Ming Ming was tight-lipped, but he couldn't get anything out of him. So he directly asked, when can I successfully refine the Qi gathering pill? This needs time. You also know that I promised you half a year, and now it's only been a month. How can it be so fast? And I have to be busy with the affairs of the Heavenly Elixir sect, so I can only find time to help you study alchemy. Kong Ming Ming said, but don't worry, I will definitely give it to you within half a year. All right then. Lin Yi also had no choice. Kong Ming Ming did promise before, and since it was agreed to be half a year, Lin Yi could only accept it. Lin Yi hung up the phone, and Kong Ming Ming went to find the Xianchen ancestor. Master, That Lin, he just called to ask me about the chi gathering pill. Isn't he crippled? Why does he still want the chi gathering pill? Do you think there's something wrong with this? Kong Mingming truthfully told the Xianxian ancestor about the contents of the phone call between Lin Yi and him. The Xianxian ancestor pondered for a moment and said, Lin Yi's dantian and meridians are crippled, and the qi gathering pill is indeed useless. However, does he have a younger brother with the strength of the peak late Earth class? Does he want to create another heaven class master to protect his safety? That's possible. Kong Mingming listened to Ancestor Xuanzhen's analysis and said, if that's the case, then the Hidden Han family's Han Tianba should be an Earth class late phase peak, and the Hidden Zhuang family should also have someone of this level. It's not surprising that he created another sky class. Let's delay him first. Anyway, this matter is not urgent. Maybe in less than half a year, Lin Yi will die first. Then we don't need to refine the extreme qi gathering pill for him. If Lin Yi is still alive in half a year, then we can refine one for him. If he wants to make a heaven stage expert, then let him make one. It won't do us any harm. He's just like an ant. If it weren't for Boss Bai, I would have killed him long ago. Would the Hidden Zhao family even have the chance to make a move? That's true. Kong Mingming nodded in agreement. After a long journey, Qikuan finally arrived at the Ice Palace's territory, Icy Snow Town. Coming to this familiar place again, Qikuan felt a myriad of emotions welling up in his mind. There was him going against Lin Yi, then submitting to Lin Yi, and then meeting that crazy sky-class old man with Lin Yi in the cave. Qikuan's heart ached just thinking about it. Back then, Lin Yi had been so full of himself, but because of his trust in Qikuan, he fell for House Zhao's tricks and became a cripple. As a follower, he couldn't do anything for him. Although Lin Yi didn't blame him, Qikuan still felt bad. He parked the car in front of the Ice Spirit Tavern. At this time, no one was participating in the Ice Palace test, so the tavern was very quiet. An unfamiliar car stopped abruptly, and even the owner of the tavern, Manager Li, came out to see what was going on. Sir, are you here to stay? Shopkeeper Li stood not far away and asked. Although this ice spirit inn was specially built for the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect, it was usually open for business. It also received some backpackers and adventurers, so Shopkeeper Li asked tentatively. No, I'm here to look for someone. Qikuan parked the car and got out, getting straight to the point. It's you? Manager Li saw that it was Qikuan, recognizing him right away. Back then, after the Ice Palace test, everyone else had left the tavern, and only Qikuan stayed for a while to wait for Lin Yi. Manager Li had a very deep impression of him. Manager Li, you know me? Qikuan was pleasantly surprised that Manager Li recognized him. Yes, your Vice Sect Leader Feng's friend, the family of Steward Zhao of the Outer Sect. Manager Li was much more polite now that he recognized Qikuan. Is there something you need from me? I have something I need to see Vice Sect Leader Feng about. Can you arrange it for me, Manager Li? Qikuan asked. You can stay here first. I'll help you send a message to the sect leader. If he agrees, Vice Sect Leader Feng will come see you. Manager Li said. All right. Qikuan nodded and stayed in the tavern, staying in the same room as before. It was obvious that no one had stayed here since Qikuan left. The decorations in the room hadn't been touched at all. Even if someone had cleaned the room, it was impossible for the room to be the same, like the location of the phone and remote. Manager Li didn't dare tarry. After Qikuan checked in, he sent a messenger pigeon to Bingtang, telling her that Qikuan was here and wanted to see Vice Sect Leader Feng. After receiving the message, Bingtang didn't give it to Xiao Xiao. She knew about Lin Yi's injury a long time ago, but she didn't tell Xiao Xiao. She didn't want Xiao Xiao to be distracted, and she wouldn't help Lin Yi. If Lin Yi couldn't even get through this, then he wouldn't have the right to talk terms with her. She wouldn't let her be Lin Yi's little wife. Regarding this little wife thing, Bingtang didn't really mind, so when Lin Yi was in trouble, Bingtang didn't help him even once. Aunt Qing, tell Qijio and you Bing to go to Ice Spirit Tavern. Tell them their old friend is here. But Bingtang wasn't an unreasonable person. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but worry about Lin Yi's injury when she saw Qikuan. In fact, even Bingtang couldn't heal Lin Yi's injury, so it was better not to let Xiao Xiao worry for nothing. Bingtang didn't need to think too much to guess why Qikuan was here. He wanted to ask Xiao Xiao for help, to help Lin Yi. But what surprised her was that Lin Yi was injured because of Qikuan's betrayal. Wasn't that why he was injured? Why would Qikuan come to the Ice Palace to find Xiao Xiao? Wasn't he afraid of death? There had to be something she didn't know, but she didn't have the heart to ask. She wasn't interested. Chapter 2965. Qing understood Bing Tong's worry as well, so she didn't say much and went to send a message to Qijio and Yu Bing. Qing was impressed with Lin Yi, but there wasn't much she could do. Qijio and Yu Bing froze when they heard that an old friend was visiting, but they guessed that it was either Lin Yi or Qikuan. The two happily headed to Ice Spirit Inn. Qijio, on the other hand, brought the pill the Ice Palace gave him. He wanted to give Lin Yi or Qikuan a surprise. Very quickly, the two arrived at the Ice Spirit Tavern. The shopkeeper was very polite to them. After all, Qijio and Yu Bing's status was not the same as before. Not only were they the outer sect managers, but they were also Vice Palace Master Feng's friends. Manager Zhao, Manager Yu, your friend, Mr. Qikuan, has been waiting for you upstairs for a long time. Manager Li said to the two. Of course, he didn't know why it was Qijio and Yu Bing who came when he was supposed to be looking for Vice Palace Master Feng. But this was a decision made by the upper echelons of the Ice Palace, and Manager Li had no right to interfere. It really is Master Tan. Qijio rushed upstairs excitedly. Yu Bing, on the other hand, had a disappointed look on his face. It wasn't that he wasn't happy to see Qikuan, but that they weren't that close. After Qikuan made Lin Yi his boss, he left the Ice Palace, and the two didn't interact much. His relationship with Lin Yi was the best. Qikuan heard the footsteps and opened the door to see Qijio in front with Yu Bing behind him. He said happily, Qijio, Yu Bing, you're here? Why isn't sis-in-law here? Yu Bing paused. You're looking for sis Xiao Xiao? She's not here. In front of outsiders, Yu Bing naturally called Xiao Xiao Vice Palace Master Feng, but in front of his own people, he called her sis. Is that so? Qikuan frowned. He'd asked Manager Li to contact Xiao Xiao, but since she didn't come, it must be Rock Candy's idea. He didn't ask anymore. I'm very happy that you two are here. Young Master Tan, I'm really happy that you came to see me. What happened after you and Boss Lin Yi went back? How is the Zhao family? Qijio basically didn't have a source of information in there. He was an outer sect manager, but the information he got was only from the inner sect. He didn't know anything about the outside world. Qikuan's face darkened a lot upon hearing Qijio's question. He sighed softly, not hiding it. It's all my fault, Boss Lin Yi's fault. What happened to Boss? Yu Bing's face changed as well as he stared at Qikuan. Did something happen to Boss? Yep. Qikuan didn't hide anymore. He told them about how Lin Yi was a guest at House Zhao, how he was poisoned, and how his meridians and Dantian were all destroyed. Yu Bing knew of Lin Yi's miraculous healing abilities, but he also understood that being poisoned and having his meridians and Dantian destroyed meant that there was nothing he could do. Every single path of recovery was blocked. Even if Lin Yi was powerful, he wouldn't be able to use his practitioner's arts, and a destroyed Dantian wouldn't be able to dissolve the poison. There was nothing he could do. Qijio looked at Qikuan, dumbfounded. He didn't expect this to happen. Then, what do we do now? Yeah, Lin Yi Boss is a cripple now. So did his enemies go after him? Did the hidden house you try to take revenge? Yu Bing was worried that his own family would go after Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi and the hidden house, you had a deep grudge against each other. But Yu Bing's question made Qikuan's face look weird. House you? They didn't take revenge. Not only did they not, they even helped Lin Yi Boss. What do you mean? Yu Bing froze upon hearing this, thinking that he'd heard it wrong. You're talking about our hidden house you? From my perspective, which other house you could it be? The common world, house you no longer exists. Qikuan smiled bitterly as he told Qijio and Yu Bing about Tianyu's appearance. After hearing Qikuan's story, Yu Bing's mouth was wide open, unable to close it. You're saying that Senior Yu Yi came personally? Yes, Zhao Qibing knows him, there's no mistake. Chikuan nodded. But we, the hidden house Zhao, think that it's because of your sister, Yu Ning, that house you made a move. What? My sister? Ning, she can order you to do things now? Yu Bing felt that the world was changing too quickly. He hadn't even been in the Ice Palace for a year. How did the outside world change so much? That's not it. There was a small incident before. Chikuan said and told Yu Bing about how Qi Bing and Yu Shan colluded to molest Yu Ning and how Lin Yi saved them and sent them back to the hidden house Yu. So, Lin Yi boss relationship with our hidden house Yu must have improved. Otherwise, Grandpa wouldn't have asked Yu to help. That's great. That's great. My sister's wish can finally come true. Yu Bing was pleasantly surprised. This was the first time he smiled since hearing about Lin Yi's injury. Lin Yi's relationship with the hidden house Yu had always been Yu Bing's biggest worry. Yu Bing had planned to come back from the Ice Palace and take over House Yu before dealing with his sister's relationship with Lin Yi. But he didn't expect that he wouldn't be at House Yu and that Lin Yi would become friends with House Yu instead. It's a good thing, but boss injury has always been my biggest worry. Chikuan wasn't too happy about it. After all, Lin Yi boss enemy isn't just my grandpa. There's also Qian Shan's sect, Jin Zhong's sect, and the hidden house Yu. Of course, even if these sects and houses are wary of Lin Yi's interference, there's still Dark Palace and Everyday sect. Although the Everyday sect hadn't made a move yet, Chikuan was still worried. What if they made a move as well? They wouldn't be as lucky as Dark Palace. That time, they had the Sky's Silkworm transformation because it involved the reward of the trial, and the Everyday sect wouldn't do anything about it, so naturally Sky Elixir sect wouldn't interfere. Why is there Dark Palace and Everyday sect? Aren't these two from the ancient sects? Yu Bing's face changed again. Chapter 2966. This Dark Palace sure is shameless, looking for trouble. The Everyday sect didn't even say anything, and yet they're jumping up and down. But according to what you said, the Sky Elixir sect's young master is a good person? Yu Bing was a bit confused. Legend has it that the young master of the Sky Elixir sect wanted to force the Ice Palace master to be his concubine. But it seems like their personalities aren't the same. Yeah, I feel the same way. He's like a completely different person compared to the legends. He's a bit too nice to us. Chikuan nodded. But he made Qi Bing and the Dark Palace elder kneel down and apologize, and even broke one of Qi Bing's arm. From these things, it seems like he's quite a domineering person. I'm a bit conflicted now. Forget it. These are things that are far away. The Ice Palace Master and the Young Master are too far away from us. We should think about how we can help Lin Yi boss recover. Yu Bing waved his hand, not want to talk about things that were far away. First, we need to find a way to fix boss's meridians and Dantian, and then find 2 Qi gathering pills to help him break through to Sky Class. That way, we'll be able to get rid of the poison. Chikuan said, but it's easier said than done. First, 2 Qi gathering pills won't be easy to find. Master Tan, I don't have Qi gathering pills, but I do have a couple of medium ones. Do you think Lin Yi boss can use them? Chijio didn't have the time to tell Chikuan about the good news of Lin Yi's cripple. He didn't have the time to tell him that he had gathered some elixirs, but now that they were talking about Qi gathering pills, he quickly asked, medium Qi gathering pill? What's that? Chikuan paused. It's a pill that's below the Qi gathering pill. It's not as effective, but it can still increase one's strength, and it doesn't have the disadvantage of not being able to train like the Qi gathering pill. Chijio said, this time, I wanted to give it to you as well, but I was worried about Lin Yi boss, so I didn't get the chance. With that, Chijio took out a delicate wooden box from his pocket and put it in front of Chikuan. Master Kuan, there's 1 small Qi gathering pill and 3 medium Qi gathering pills in here. Oh, can these 3 be worth 2? Chikuan asked. But why didn't you use them? Didn't you say that you could attack the heaven rank after using it? If I take it, I can definitely attack the heaven rank. Chijio said, but I didn't use it. I don't have much of a goal anymore. As long as you're happy, Master Tan, I'll be happy, so I kept it for you. Even so, I'm about to break through to Earth class myself, and this small chi gathering pill can help you break through to Earth class in the future. These three can help you all the way to Earth class late phase peak. But if you give it to Lenny, boss, 2 chi gathering pills won't be as effective, but breaking through to Sky class won't be a problem. Oh, what do you mean? Chikuin paused, pleasantly surprised. Master Tang said that Lenny, boss, is an Earth class late phase now, and this pill can help him become an Earth class late phase peak. Of course, an Earth class mid phase peak will be able to reach Earth class late phase peak with just 1 mid chi gathering pill. That meant that half of the pill's effect would still be left, and with the other 2 pills, it wouldn't be a problem for him to break through to Sky class early phase, because 1 chi gathering pill is equivalent to 2 medium chi gathering pills. So these 3 medium chi gathering pills are more than enough. Oh, so you're saying that it's possible to break through to Sky class early phase peak? Chikuin asked, surprised. That's not possible. Chijio shook his head. It's different when you break through the barrier. For example, you're at Earth class late phase peak, and even if you take 3 chi gathering pills, you'll still be Sky class early phase. There's no point in taking pills before your strength stabilizes. Your meridians and dantian aren't used to the new level yet, and you won't be able to absorb that much of the medicine. It's just a waste. So that's how it is. Chikuin was a bit disappointed. But this way, boss's pill problem is solved. All that's left is to repair the dantian and meridians. And that's all I can do. Master Tan, my abilities are limited. You'll have to figure out how to repair Lin, boss dantian, and meridians yourself. My words don't carry much weight in the Ice Palace. And if it weren't for Sis-in-law Xiao Xiao, I wouldn't even be able to get these pills. Chijio said. He was a reasonable man. He knew who gave him everything he had today, and he didn't lose himself. Giving these pills to Lin, he didn't hurt at all. By the way, old master, Zhao wrote a letter to you. Chikuin had already changed his way of addressing old Zhao, because he felt that someone like this didn't deserve to be his grandfather anymore. Chijio knew what had happened to Chikuin, and naturally, he didn't think much of it. He took the letter from Chikuin's hands and glanced at it before throwing it to the side. Master Kuin, how do you expect me to reply? It's over, so I'll just go to Lenny boss when I get back. Reply my ass. Chikuin smiled. I respect your choice, and I just want to know if you're planning on getting a position like Elder by in the Hidden House. I told you, I don't have any ambitions. My choice is to follow Master Tan. As for Elder Zhao, he's Master Tan's enemy, and that means he's my enemy as well. Chijio said. Chikuin patted Chijio's shoulder. He was sure that Chijio wouldn't betray him, but hearing him say this himself still made him happy. Haha, you've made the right choice. I think that following Lenny Boss has a much better future than following House Zhao. Lenny Boss followers are all over the ancient level, and old Zhao's vision is just too limited. I don't know what he's thinking. Following Lin, E, and hiding House Zhao won't just be hiding House Zhao. Master Tan, you can create your own ancient House Zhao. Chijio nodded. Chapter 2967. Not now. We can only see her during the monthly meeting of the Ice Palace, but we can only see her from afar. If Master Tan wants to find Xiao Xiao, you'll have to talk to Shopkeeper Li first, Yu Bing said with a shake of his head. All right, I understand. Chikuin nodded. If that's the case, I won't hold you guys up any longer. You guys go back. I'll wait here for Xiao Xiao. I don't have much use for this pill, but Boss Lin, he has it. Chijio, you can use it to break through to Earth class. All right. Chijio didn't reject it this time, taking it back. Since Chikuin said that Lin, he had a chi gathering pill, he wouldn't mind. Yu Bing and Chijio said goodbye to Chikuin and returned to the Ice Palace. They were both stewards of the outer sect, and they couldn't be away for too long. After they left, Chikuin went to the front desk. Shopkeeper Li, may I ask why Vice Palace Leader Feng isn't here? Chikuin asked. I'm not too sure about that. I just told the sect master that Mr. Zhao is here to see Vice Palace Leader Feng, but who the sect master sends is up to her. I can't make the decision, Shopkeeper Li said. I can ask around for you. Thank you, shopkeeper Lee. Chikuin thanked him and went upstairs to wait. The next day, shopkeeper Lee found Chikuin and passed on the sectmaster's message. Mr. Zhao, the sectmaster said that Vice Palace Leader Feng is in solitary practice and can't come out to see you, so she sent 2 of your friends to meet you instead. I see. Chikuin didn't know if Bing Tang was telling the truth or not, but since shopkeeper Lee had passed on the message, he didn't question it. I'll leave then. I'll leave a letter for Vice Palace Leader Feng. If it's convenient, please pass it on to me, shopkeeper Lee. Sure, shopkeeper Lee said. Chikuin didn't waste any time. He wrote a letter on the desk, explaining the problem Lin Yi was facing and asking if Xiao Xiao had any good solutions. He then signed his name and gave it to shopkeeper Lee. Shopkeeper Lee didn't say anything. Right in front of Chikuin, he tied the pigeon's leg and let it fly to the ice palace that afternoon. Zhao Chikuin was on his way back to Donghai, but Chikuin didn't drive straight to Donghai. Instead, he parked his car in a random parking lot in a nearby city and went to a car dealership nearby. He bought a car that cost a few tens of thousands, got a temporary license, and headed towards Donghai. His return this time was completely hidden. He did not want the Zhao family to know. This was to make use of the time difference and make the Zhao family think that he was still in the ice palace. When Chikuin's car stopped in front of Lin Yi's villa, he was a little emotional. He'd already opened the door, but he couldn't take a single step. He felt bad for Lin Yi, not knowing how to face Lin Yi. Chikuin had volunteered to save Lin Yi's life at the banquet, but at the end of the day, Lin Yi's injuries were caused by Chikuin. If it weren't for Chikuin, Lin Yi wouldn't have gone to House Zhao's banquet. Yushu realized that there was a brand new car parked in front of her villa, and it didn't have a license plate. There seemed to be someone in the car, but they didn't get out. Looking at the time, it should be time for Han Xiao Xiao to get out of school. The BMW X5M wouldn't be able to get in if the car was parked there, so Yushu reminded him. You can't park here. Chikuin. Yushu suddenly realized that the person in the driver's seat was Chikuin. Whoosh! Yushu picked up a rock and threw it at Chikuin's car, leaving a huge dent in the car. Shoo! Why did you throw it at me? Chikuin was in deep thought when the rock flew at him, startling him. He subconsciously jumped out of the car. I'll kill you, you traitor. You treacherous bastard. Yushu threw another rock over, this one even more accurate, hitting Chikuin's forehead. Chikuin was a practitioner, and he had chi to protect his body, but he was still in a sorry state. Shoo, let me explain. Explain my ass, I'll smash you to death. Yushu picked up another rock and threw it at Chikuin. Now that Elder Pai and a bunch of masters were in the villa, she naturally wasn't afraid of Chikuin. Shoo, what's going on? Ming Yao heard the commotion outside and came out to ask, but when she saw Yushu throwing a rock at Chikuin, her face changed. Chikuin? Why are you here? Let me explain. Chikuin hugged his head, not daring to fight back. He smiled bitterly, but he felt that it was normal for him to get smashed. After all, Lin Yi was injured because of him. Shu Yao Yao, stop smashing, let Chikuin in. Lin Yi heard Ming Yao, too, and knew that Chikuin was here. He quickly came out to stop him. Boss, your wounds are all healed. Chikuin was shocked to see Lin Yi walking out of the villa. Lin Yi's wounds were very serious, and Lin Yi had lost his self-healing abilities. It would take at least a year and a half for him to recover, and these were just external wounds. Let's talk inside. Although Lin Yi's meridians and dantian had recovered, his strength hadn't. He didn't want to be seen in public. Lin Yi had been standing in the villa's doorway when he was talking to Lin Yi. No one could see him if they weren't facing him. He was afraid that House Yu's or the Dark Palace's people were still nearby. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't stop Chikuin after Lin Yi's words, but they still didn't give him a good face. But when Chikuin entered the villa, Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Shu, Yao Yao, you misunderstood Chikuin. He didn't go back on his word. Chapter 2968. I didn't tell you guys that it was Chikuin who hit me, but if he didn't hit me, I would have died in the hidden house Zhao. With that, Lin Yi explained what happened that day in detail to Meng Yao and Yushu, including Lin Yi's lackeys, They all understood after hearing Lin Yi's story that Chikuin had no other choice. If he didn't do it, Lin Yi would have been left in the hidden house. It looked like Chikuin had betrayed Lin Yi, but in reality, he was helping Lin Yi. "Boss, you're the wise. I was almost killed." Chikuin saw that everyone was looking at him a lot friendlier now, and he breathed in relief. "How many stones can kill you?" Chintian humphed coldly. "If it weren't for you not seeing through your grandpa's scheme, boss wouldn't have gotten hurt. Your house, Zhao, just can't do it. Look at us, House Wu, House Han, House Pai, House Shuang, we're all following Lin Yi, boss." "That, I couldn't do anything about it. Old Zhao is short-sighted. He can't blame it on me," Chikuin said helplessly. "All right, let's not talk about Chi Tan anymore. I didn't even know what was going on. Who would have thought that Elder Zhao would take out 200 million to bribe me? Even a hidden house wouldn't be able to take out such a large sum of money easily, especially one that hasn't been earning much recently. So, this money was taken out at a time when I needed it the most. I didn't suspect that Elder Zhao had other intentions," Lin Yi said, trying to smooth things over. "Thank you, boss," Chikuin said gratefully. "Right, boss, your injuries, are they all healed?" "They're healed," Lin Yi nodded. "It's all thanks to Jingyi, who used House Sun's arts to heal my meridians and Dantian." "That's great. Boss, you can finally regain your strength and go back to the Zhao family with me to seek justice." Chikuin stood up excitedly, completely disappointed in House Zhao. He no longer had the feelings he had before, because in old Zhao's eyes, he was just a tool that could be used, a pawn that could be thrown away at any time. This made Chikuin's heart sink. From the moment he called old Zhao, he was ready to cut ties with House Zhao. Lin Yi paused, as did everyone else, as they looked at Chikuin, speechless. Chikuin disagreed. Boss's meridians and meridians only recovered, but his strength hasn't recovered yet. We have Elder Pai, a Sky-class early phase, but we still can't take them down. Plus, if we go to the Hidden House Zhao and the Hidden House Yu, Ganshan and Golden Clock Sect all get involved, wouldn't we have even less of a chance? Xiaopa objected to Chikuin's suggestion. "Strength's easy," Chikuin said. "What I'm worried about the most is the meridians and Dantian. As long as they're healed, recovering strength and breaking through to Sky Class is just a matter of time." "What? Chikuin, are you having a fever?" "That's bullshit." Han Xiaopa felt a little helpless. Although the Heavenly Elixir sect promised to refine a chi amassing pill for boss, they're still dragging their feet. Besides, even if they bring the chi amassing pill to us, there's only one. It won't help us. I don't need it. Chikuin, on the other hand, wasn't annoyed at all. He shook his head mysteriously and took out a delicate wooden box from his pocket. "Guess what I brought back? Chi gathering pill." Xiaopa said subconsciously, but then shook his head. "No, you said you don't need it. What is that? Is it the antidote?" "It shouldn't be the antidote." Old Pai shook his head. Chikuin said that Mr. Lin would be able to break through to Sky Class in a matter of time. An antidote alone wouldn't have that effect. Could it be a replacement for the chi gathering pill? "Haha, Old Pai, you really are a wise old man," Chikuin said with a smile as he opened the box. A thick aroma of medicine wafted out, stunning everyone present. This was especially true for cultivators. When they smelled this scent, they felt as if their cultivation speed had increased. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was a little surprised. The smell of the pill was very similar to Xinyan's. This discovery made Lin Yi very curious. "What's wrong, boss?" Chikuin saw the weird look on Lin Yi's face and quickly asked. "It's nothing." Lin Yi shook his head. "What is this?" Lin Yi, naturally, couldn't say that Xinyan's aroma was the same as the pill. Only a few people knew that Xinyan could help Lin Yi with his training, and these followers didn't know about it. Plus, this was a personal matter, and it wasn't appropriate for Lin Yi to talk about it casually. But Lin Yi was curious as to what this pill was. "This pill is called the Mid-Chi Gathering Pill," Chikuin introduced. Chijiu found 100,000-year-old spirit herb in the Ice Palace and got his reward. It said that the recipe for this pill has been lost for a long time, and it can't be made. But this kind of mid-grade chi gathering pill, although the effect of a single pill is much weaker than a chi gathering pill, it doesn't have the drawback of being unable to continue cultivating like a chi gathering pill. Oh, mid-chi gathering pill? It was the first time Lin had heard of the name of this pill, but it sounded like something good. It was a shame that it would be a waste for him to eat it, since it didn't have any side effects. Yes, it said that the remaining chi gathering pills are from a long time ago. The recipe has been lost, and there aren't any more refiners who can make it. One pill is one less, Chikuin nodded. Such a precious thing, and Chijio is giving it away. Lin, he was touched. These pills were like coal in a snowstorm. Chapter 2969. All right, I won't be thanking you then. Lin nodded. Chikuin was right, but he was responsible for Lin Yi's poisoning. It had been too smooth sailing recently, whether it was the Sky class or the Sky Elixir sex test. Lin had always been able to defeat his opponents with ease. This made Lin lower his guard, and that was why he fell for Elder Zhao's trick. Can these 3 mid-chi gathering pills help me break through to Sky class? Wasn't it said that the medicinal effect of a single chi gathering pill couldn't even compare to half the medicinal effect of a chi gathering pill? 2 chi gathering pills are needed to break through to Sky class. These 3 shouldn't be enough, right? That's enough, it's like this. Chikuin had the same concerns before, but he understood after Chijio's explanation. He explained everything to Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a refiner, but he didn't know much about the principles behind the chi gathering pill and the mid-chi gathering pill. But after hearing Chikuin's explanation, he was very excited. Can I break through to Sky class? That's great. Boss, you're going to go into isolation now? Chikuin was even more worried than Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi's injury was caused by him, and he felt very guilty. He hoped that Lin Yi could recover as soon as possible. Yeah, I'll take it now. Lin Yi nodded. But our plan was for nothing. We don't have to go back to Westar Village anymore. It's more like a scare than a disaster. No need to go back. The miss was a bit disappointed, but she smiled. Lin Yi, congratulations. Shu and I can finally relax. It's good that we don't have to go back. We can take the final exams now. We don't have to do it next semester. Yao Yao, you don't seem to mean it? Yushu blinked. The miss blushed, but pretended like she didn't hear anything. Lin Yi, you're going into isolation now? Lin Yi nodded and stood up, picking up the pills and walking to his room. In fact, Lin Yi was quite worried. He'd lost his strength these past few days, and he couldn't handle all the sudden happenings. If he had strength, he wouldn't be able to fight against the Dark Palace, but at least he wouldn't be in such a bad situation. Lin Yi went into isolation, and the others stayed in the living room to watch over Lin Yi. After all, if something were to happen while he was taking the pills, they'd regret it. After closing the door, Lin Yi sat cross-legged on the bed and placed the 3 pills in front of him. Since he'd had the experience of taking the pills last time, Lin Yi wasn't nervous this time. After all, the last time he had taken the chi gathering pill, it had been a hair-raising experience. He had to choose the right time, not too early or too late. At that time, he had also been poisoned by a strange poison, which had caused his cultivation level to drop continuously. He had to take the chi gathering pill, right, when he was about to level up. Only then would it take effect and become a miraculous pill that could help him break through the bottleneck of his cultivation. This time, Lin Yi only needed to take the 3 pills in peace, and everything would be fine. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi solemnly picked up the 3 pills in front of him, put them in his mouth, and swallowed them down. Hiss! Lin Yi couldn't help but scream, because the moment the pills entered Lin Yi's stomach, a warm current flowed from Lin Yi's dantian to his whole body, and then Lin Yi's meridians felt like they were on fire, extremely hot. Because he had the experience of taking the pills last time, Lin Yi chose to let nature take its course this time, and didn't try to resist it. To be honest, even if Lin Yi wanted to use the mantra to resist the heat, it wouldn't work because Lin Yi was poisoned and couldn't use the mantra at all. As time went on, the heat grew stronger and stronger. Lin Yi felt like his whole body was on fire. But even so, Lin Yi gritted his teeth and persevered. This feeling was very familiar to Lin Yi. It was exactly the same as the first time he took the Qi gathering pill. Slowly, Lin Yi could feel his clothes starting to burn from the heat of his body. But no matter what, this was a good thing. Lin Yi was uncomfortable, but he felt very comforted because this feeling was exactly the same as last time, a sign of a breakthrough. Late phase of Earth class, late phase peak. Lin Yi felt that his strength was rising bit by bit, and it was slow, but the whole process was stable, not too fast nor too slow. It seemed like the effects of the Qi gathering pill were very strong, and Lin Yi felt that it would be great if he could train as fast as this. Didn't this mean that the Qi gathering pill was the same as the Qi gathering pill plus Wang Xinyan? Lin Yi could clearly feel that the Qi gathering pill was absorbing the energy much faster than the Qi gathering pill, as if Lin Yi was holding Wang Xinyan and taking the Qi gathering pill. It seemed like this Qi gathering pill had something to do with Wang Xinyan. But Lin Yi was in urgent need of the Qi gathering pill to recover his strength, and he couldn't break it down and study it slowly. Lin Yi didn't have the ability to separate the recipe for the pill. After all, that was a completely different concept from a recipe. At least, Lin Yi didn't have the ability to do that right now. Full late phase of Earth class, he was about to break through to early phase of Sky class. Lin Yi's forehead was already covered in sweat, and Lin Yi's clothes were like cloth that had been exposed to the sun for a long time. They'd been torn apart and dropped onto the bed. But Lin Yi wasn't in the mood to care about that at all. The energy in his body was growing at a rapid rate. The Qi of heaven and earth gathered around Lin Yi's body, becoming more and more. It circled above Lin Yi's head, forming an extremely weak whirlpool. The Qi of heaven and earth was pitifully scarce in the natural world, especially in the city. But then again, this Qi was only gathered during breakthroughs, and Lin Yi's breakthrough this time was the same as the last time, relying on the pill and not the Qi of heaven and earth. The amount of Qi of heaven and earth didn't matter to Lin Yi. The energy of heaven and earth, in other words, resonated with the pure energy in Lin Yi's body. It circulated around Lin Yi's body faster and faster, and Lin Yi felt that his body temperature was getting higher and higher. Chapter 2970. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to sense the heaven and earth Qi, but the followers who were guarding Lin Yi outside the house could clearly sense it. Their faces were filled with joy. It seems like the boss has broken through. Chikuan's heart finally calmed down. Lin Yi had broken through, and his mission was complete. It should be. Old Man Han nodded. The scale of this true Qi should be a sign of breaking through the barrier of a major rank, not a minor rank barrier. Minor barriers had this kind of Qi, but it wasn't as strong. It was only when breaking through a major barrier that it would be this strong. Lin Yi's lackeys weren't the only ones who felt it. Even Yu Yi, who had been observing the situation nearby, felt it as well. On Yu Yi's face, there was a surprised look. Even when Chikuan came to Lin Yi's place, Yu Yi wasn't this surprised. Although Lin Yi and Chikuan had a grudge, why was Chikuan in Lin Yi's villa not coming out yet? Yu Yi was confused, but he wasn't too surprised. After all, what happened to House Zhao had nothing to do with him. House Yu and House Zhao had already fallen out, and House Yu didn't want to care about House Zhao's business at all. Whether Chikuan had betrayed them or regretted it, it didn't matter. His goal was to make sure that Yu Shu wasn't harmed. However, the fluctuation of true Qi made him a little moved. This was obviously a sign that someone had broken through the barrier of a major level. Who had broken through in this villa? Who was at the edge of a major barrier? After thinking about it, Yui could only think of Han Tianba. Old Han was an Earth-class late-phase peak, and only he could have broken through. But how'd he do it? Could it be a natural breakthrough? One had to know that the Qi in a natural world was very sparse, and House Han didn't have any resources. How did they break through? Rain couldn't figure it out, but this wasn't a bad thing for him. This way, there would be two heaven-ranked powerhouses in Lin Yi's villa, Old Man Han and Old Man Pai. If the enemy came again, with 2 Sky-class masters holding the line, even the ancient sects would have to think twice. If it really didn't work, there was still him, a Sky-class master from the Hidden House U. But even so, U1 still reported the news to House U's old ancestor, Yu Xing. What? Are you saying that someone in Lin Yi's villa has broken through? The Hidden House Han Tianba? Elder Yu's tone was filled with shock after hearing this. That's right, old master. If I'm not wrong, it should be Han Tianba. In this villa, he's the most reliable one who meets the requirements for a breakthrough, Yu Yi said with a nod. What happened in Lin Yi's villa today? Yu Xing didn't believe Yu Yi's judgment. He asked in return. Elder Yu was a very smart man. Otherwise, the Hidden House you wouldn't have gotten where it was today. Today, right? Zhao Qikuan came today, and he was allowed to enter the villa. Yu Yi replied. Zhao Qikuan? Didn't he betray Lin Yi? Isn't the Hidden House, Zhao, Lin Yi's enemy? What's he doing here? Yu Xing frowned. It was understandable that Zhao Qikuan was kicked out, but it was strange that he was allowed to enter the villa. I don't know, because I was quite far away, and I couldn't see what happened from my angle. I just know that Zhao Qikuan came, Yu Yi said. Zhao Qikuan. Yu Xing nodded. Chem? I'm afraid that Zhao Qikuan's betrayal of Lin Yi isn't as simple as it seems. Han Tianba shouldn't be able to break through. Lin Yi is a mysterious person, but his house isn't some training ground. How would he break through? Then, old head, you mean? Yu Yi paused. If it wasn't Han Tianba, then who was it? Why don't you think about it? Could it be that Lin Yi broke through? Yu Xing changed the topic and made a bold guess. Lin Yi. Yu Yi almost threw the phone away. How is that possible? Not only was Lin Yi poisoned, but he's disabled. Oh, Lin Yi disabled? Are you sure he's crippled? Yu Xing asked back. You hurt yourself. Lin Yi told you that he's crippled? No, but didn't they all say that? Yu Yi was confused. Before, Lin Yi said that too, but Xiao family was done for. We thought that Chen Tian was disabled, but it was Yu Feng and House Yu who were disabled. Do you think Lin Yi and the people around him can think normally? Yu Xing said, don't forget, Lin Yi is someone who can kill Sky Class in one hit. So, Lin Yi has been faking it all this time. He's been in seclusion these few days because he's reached the level barrier and is preparing to break through. Yu Yi's voice trembled, but wasn't he Earth Class late phase? Can't he suppress his strength? Besides, why can't someone who can fight someone stronger than him be able to level up? Yu Xing said, that's true. Old head, you're the wiser one. You saw the truth of the matter right away. This Lin Yi is such a scammer. Yu Yi said, cold sweat forming on his forehead. Thank God I didn't disrespect Lin Yi too much, or I'd be in danger. Not bad. Be polite the next time you see Lin Yi, Yu Xing ordered. All right, I'll call him young Master Lin then. He nodded. No, you have to call him senior, Elder Yu said. It's not that I'm trying to please him, but he really does have the right to be your senior. But because of his relationship with Yu Bing and Yu Ning, I can call him young master. Old head, you mean you want to be with Lin Yi? Yu Yi paused, suddenly remembering something. You're thinking too much. I just don't want to piss him off, but it's hard for us House Yu to be on good terms with him. All right, I'm hanging up. Chen's here. We'll talk later. Elder Yu said. Yes, old head. Yu Yi hung up and fell into deep thought. However, Yu Xing hung up and fell into deep thought as well. If it weren't for the fact that he had his reasons, Yu Xing really wanted to get closer to Lin Yi, but the current situation was that House Yu and Lin Yi would have to go against each other sooner or later. It was just a matter of time. Chapter 2971. Even if she accepted the inheritance, she wouldn't be able to be with Lin Yi. Even if she became Sky's Dao, Lin Yi might not even want Yu Ning anymore. And Elder Yu had given Yu Ning the position of the future head of House Yu. All of this was the source of the conflict with Lin Yi, but Elder Yu couldn't resolve it. He knew that things were going to develop this way, but he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't go against the Five-Element sect. Even if he gave Yushu to Lin Yi, it would ease the relationship between Lin Yi and House Yu. But Yushu couldn't do it either. Not even one of them. This was what troubled Elder Yu the most. Father, what are you thinking about? Xiaoqin came to his father's room to find him in deep thought, not saying a word. Xiaoqin couldn't help but ask, Xiaoqin, what do you think of Lin Yi? Elder Yu raised his head. Lin Yi. Xiaoqin paused, not knowing why his father would suddenly ask this question, but he answered honestly. To be honest, I don't have any feelings for Lin Yi. If he can't be Ning's boyfriend, then he's destined to be our enemy. If he can't be her boyfriend, then he has to be our enemy? Yu Yuxin continued. Father, forgive me for being slow-witted, but I don't know what you mean by that. Is House Yu changing our strategy? But isn't Lin Yi crippled? Xiao Chun asked curiously. You think he's crippled too? Yu Yuxing smiled faintly, looking at Xiao Chun oddly. Xiao Chun's heart skipped a beat as he looked at his father's expression. Could it be fake? Lin Yi isn't crippled, but he's plotting something? I don't know if it's some kind of conspiracy, but today, someone in Lin Yi's villa broke through, and it's a big one too. Elder Yi said. Father, you mean that Lin Yi broke through to Sky Class? Xiao Chun asked, shocked. It's possible. Elder Yu nodded. At least, I think it's possible. If that's the case, then the following days will be another bloody storm. Luckily, the Hidden House, you didn't participate when the Hidden House Zhao wanted to deal with Lin Yi. Xiao Qin said, with some trepidation. He was only an Earth Class late phase peak. If Lin Yi were to reach Sky Class, what could House Yu use to fight against Lin Yi? They couldn't possibly complain to the Five Elements sect that they couldn't even defeat a rogue cultivator, right? Plus, although the Five Elements sect didn't express anything clearly, but when Little One and Little Ten went against Lin Yi, the Hidden House Yu knew about it. Yet, they didn't do anything about it. It was obvious that there was some sort of secret agreement behind all of this, and this caused Yu Xiaoqin to worry. Even if Lin Yi didn't break through, we wouldn't participate. Lin Yi isn't someone we can deal with anymore. There's no need to fight an egg against a rock. Plus, House Yu's future belongs to Yu Bing and Yu Ning. They won't be happy if Lin Yi dies. Elder Yu said with a wave of his hand. Right, tell me why you're here. Is there something you can't decide on your own that you need to ask me? Father, it's about Jean. Xiaoqin was naturally talking about Yu Xiaojin, Zhao Guangyin's wife, and Yu Xing's daughter. If it were anything else, Xiaoqian would definitely be able to make the decision, but Xiaojin's situation was something he had to ask Elder Yu. But now, it didn't seem to be a problem anymore. But if Lin Yi isn't crippled at all and becomes Sky Class, then this wouldn't be a problem anymore. Whether or not House Zhao can still exist is another matter. What's wrong with Jean? Yu Xing asked. Xiao Jin was his daughter, after all, and he couldn't just ignore her. Elder Yu wasn't the type of person who valued sons over daughters, and he treated all his children equally. This was also the reason why Yu Ning could become the head of the house in the future. Jin's been really depressed lately. Because of what happened with Zhao Qibing, Hidden House Zhao has fallen out with us, and Jin's been thrown into the Cold Palace. Right now, she's taking care of Miraculous and my nephew. Living in House Zhao is having a hard time. Xiao Qin sighed. I don't know what's gotten into old Zhao, but he wants Zhao Qibing to be the head of the house. Miraculous' position has been taken away, and Jean doesn't have the position she used to have. She's suffering, so he's calling me to tell me about it. If he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't have messed with Lin Yi. If I were him, I'd let that Zhao Qikuan be the head of the house as soon as possible. At least I'd be able to get Lin Yi's support. I think that old Zhao's brain has gone crazy from eating qi gathering pills. Stolen things aren't that good. Elder Yu curled his lips. You're right. House Zhao doesn't even exist anymore. Let her find a chance to come back. If she can't come back in time, Lin Yi's already gone. Tell her to tell Lin Yi that she's Yu Bing and Xiao Ning's aunt, and Miraculous is Yu Bing and Xiao Ning's brother. Lin Yi will give her some leeway. Elder Yu understood Lin Yi very well. He knew that Lin Yi was very lenient towards his followers and the people around his women. Elder Yu was confused as to why Lin Yi didn't punish them after such a huge mistake, but this showed how lenient Lin Yi was towards his followers. And Zhao Qikuan, who was able to enter the villa today, was the same. Lin Yi didn't drag Qikuan into this because of his anger towards House Zhao. Yes, father, I understand. Yu Xiaoqin nodded and left. Ice Palace. Crystal Candy listened to Aunt Qing Chijio had given all the elixirs he got to Chikuin, and it went without saying that he was giving it to Lin Yi. But Bingtang didn't stop him. Her feelings towards Lin Yi were very complicated. She kept reminding herself that Lin Yi was an evil man, not only seducing her own sister, but also making her own sister fall in love with him. These two were inheritors, and she wasn't. If they accepted the inheritance, they'd definitely be stronger than her, and they'd be willing to follow Lin Yi. She was just a little wife. What advantage did she have? Her arrogance from before would probably become a joke, wouldn't it? And so, in her mind, Lin Yi should just die. Once he was dead, everything would be over. That way, she wouldn't have to think of him naked every time she thought of him. That evil thing would mess with her. Chapter 2972. If Lin Yi died, her mother Wang Yujie would be sad, her sister Tang Yin would be sad, and so would Xiao Xiao. As for herself, she wasn't worried about her. She was only worried about the people around her. Aunt Qing, go personally. If the people from the Dark Palace cause trouble for Lin Yi again, cover for him. Bingtang hesitated. If the people from the Dark Palace ask, tell them that Vice Palace Leader Feng ordered you to come. Lin Yi is her lover, so it's not against the ancient rules. Aunt Qing was startled. She didn't think that Bingtang, who had always been indifferent and had few desires, would take the initiative to get involved in this. I don't want Xiao Xiao's training to be affected because of Lin Yi, and I can't just ignore Mom and Tang Yin's feelings, right? Bingtang looked at the shocked Aunt Qing and explained with an unnatural expression, "It has nothing to do with me. I don't want to be some little wife. It's better if he dies." Aunt Qing understood the first half of Bingtang's words, but the latter half made her even more confused. This wasn't like Bingtang's personality. And she even explained what little wife. What did that mean? In fact, even Bingtang herself didn't understand her own thoughts. She had been in the Ice Palace since she was young, and all she did was train. She didn't know when she started paying attention to someone. Bingtang was biased towards this person, but she had to admit that this person entered her life and became the only novelty in her boring life in the Ice Palace. No matter if this person was strong or unlucky, Bingtang would always listen to Aunt Qing's nagging. If he was strong, Bingtang would be a little nervous, worried that she would become his little wife. If he was unlucky, Bingtang would gloat, thinking that with this level, how could she marry him? She was thinking too much. But bad luck was one thing. But Lin Yi was going to die, and Bingtang didn't want him to die for real. She wouldn't be able to hear this news in the future, and that was why she sent Aunt Qing to take a look. Rock Candy didn't even realize that she was conflicted and complicated, so she blamed it all on Xiao Xiao, Tang Yun, and Wang Yujie. But this kind of tsundere personality was very similar to the Mississippi. If the Tang Yun from before wasn't the real Tang Yun, then the current Bingtang would be the real Tang Yun. She and Xiao Xiao together would be the exact replica of the Miss and Shu. Aunt Qing, actually, I'm still waiting for him to refine pills for me. I've been at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage for too long. I also want to advance to the Heavenly Tao, so I'm waiting for Lin Yi's Ice Heart Jade Bone pill. Rock Candy explained again. Oh, yes, Palace Master. Aunt Qing was confused. Until now, she did not understand the real reason why Bingtang asked her to take action. However, she did not want to ask more. She nodded directly and prepared to go down the mountain. One had to admit that Yu Bing and Chijio, as the stewards of the outer sect, had some connections and connections. They couldn't go through the upper levels, but they could go through the lower levels easily. There were no men in the inner sect of the Ice Palace, only women. However, there were some low-level disciples who served as servants. These people would eventually get married when they got older, and they couldn't leave the Ice Palace after they got married. Therefore, their only choice was the male disciples in the outer sect. With this layer of relationship, Yu Bing and Chijio, as the stewards of the outer sect, were naturally very familiar with the stewards of the inner sect. After all, Ice Palace was an ancient sect and they had their own rules. Even if an inner sect servant and an outer sect disciple got married, they wouldn't be able to see each other every day. Every week, they could only meet on Sundays. So if an outer sect disciple's wife happened to be on her period, it'd be a tragedy. Because of this, there would be some servants or outer sect disciples who wanted to meet at other times. Although the Ice Palace's rules didn't mention this, it had been an unwritten rule for thousands of years. As long as the inner and outer sect stewards nodded, they could meet at other times. So, the inner sect and outer sect were one family, and Yu Bing easily found the maid who served Xiao Xiao through the inner sect's manager. He asked her to send a letter to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's servants were all chosen through strict selections. Although they were managed by the inner sect, they were still independent existences. If it were something big, she would not help out with the risk, but this was a small matter that didn't affect anything. Naturally, she was more than happy to help, especially since she heard that Yu Bing and Qijiu were close with Xiao Xiao. They seemed to have known each other in the common world, so the servant didn't hesitate to help. Xiao Xiao received Yu Bing's letter and was a bit surprised. She didn't understand why Yu Bing would write to her all of a sudden. Couldn't he just send a letter? But Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat when she opened the letter. Lin Yi's meridians and Dantian were destroyed, and he was poisoned. Xiao Xiao wasn't the girl who only knew how to cause trouble anymore. She was the vice leader of the Ice Palace, and she was on the path of practicing. Naturally, she knew how serious these two things were. One could even say that this was cutting off Lin Yi's path of practicing. Lin Yi had his own strengths, but his meridians and Dantian were all destroyed. He couldn't use the arts, and he couldn't digest the pills either. What should she do? Xiao Xiao was panicking and panicking. Naturally, she didn't think that Yu Bing would lie to her. He wouldn't joke about something like this. And so, Xiao Xiao quickly ran out of her practicing area and went to Bingtang's. Other people wouldn't be able to see Bingtang right away, but Xiao Xiao was unimpeded. Anqing wasn't here, and no one in the Ice Palace dared to ask her. She went straight to Bingtang's room. Xiao Xiao, why are you here? Weren't you in solitary training to break through to Sky Class? Bingtang looked at her, shocked. Xiao Xiao's talent for practicing was very good because of her physique. After using some medicines and qi gathering pills, her strength rose all the way to Earth Class late phase peak. Chapter 2973. Senior Sister Crystal Candy. Did you know that Lin Yi's honey is in trouble? Xiao Xiao wasn't stupid. To tell the truth, she was worried, but when she received the letter, she understood one thing. Crystal Candy definitely knew about Lin Yi's crippling, but she purposely hid it from her. This made it so that Yu Bing couldn't send her any messages and could only do so through the maidservant. In the entire Ice Palace, the only one who had power above her was Crystal Candy. Crystal Candy's heart tightened. Xiao Xiao knew who was the one who tipped them off. However, Rock Candy was somewhat glad that she had made the choice before. Otherwise, there would definitely be a gap between her and Xiao Xiao. Oh, you're talking about Lin Yi's situation? I sent Aunt Qing to prevent people from taking advantage of the situation, Crystal Candy said nonchalantly. Rock Candy acted as if nothing had happened and said indifferently, I was afraid that it would affect your cultivation, so I didn't let anyone tell you. Aunt Qing's already gone. Xiao Xiao was much more relieved after hearing that. That's great. Senior Sister Crystal Candy, so you're paying attention to Lin Yi's honey as well? Did you fall in love with him after seeing him naked? Crystal Candy was speechless. I'm just worried that no one will make pills for me if he dies. If he can concoct pills, then wouldn't you be able to be his little wife? Haha, then you'd have to call me Xiao Xiao sis. You're the senior sister outside, but at home, I'm the big sister. Xiao Xiao said, there's no point in saying that. How's your training? Have you reached the barrier to Sky Class? Crystal Candy blushed a little, but it disappeared quickly as she changed the topic. Not yet. Xiao Xiao shook her head. It's not that easy to break through to Sky Class. My training speed is already fast enough. You have a cold body, and you're at the origin of the ice element. With the help of elixirs, it'd be a problem if your training speed isn't fast. Crystal Candy said, "Go back and continue your training. I'll keep an eye on Lin Yi's situation for you." "Okay, then I'll leave Lin Yi's honey to you, Crystal Candy's sis." Xiao Xiao nodded. She knew that Lin Yi's meridians and Dantian were destroyed, and it wasn't something she could help him with. Even Rock Candy couldn't do it. Xiao Xiao knew how much power and depth the Ice Palace had. The Dantian and meridians weren't normal injuries, and as long as no one tried to take advantage of the situation, she'd be satisfied. He'd have to figure out a way himself. Hearing Xiao Xiao's flirtatious words, Crystal Candy frowned. What did she mean by handing Lin Yi's husband to her? Annoyed, she couldn't help but crack a joke. "You gave him to me? You don't want him anymore?" "Haha, Linny honey can't leave me behind. At most, you can add Rock Candy sis. Candy Linny, Candy sis you, Crystal sis you, Crystal Candy I. Candy you I the E you all me. I don't want to play the E. You guys do it yourselves." Crystal Candy said helplessly. It seemed like joking with Xiao Xiao was a mistake. All she had to do was let Xiao Xiao get a topic of conversation, and this kind of mess would happen. "So you want to play by yourself, Crystal Candy? That's fine, but it's better to have fun together than to have fun alone." Xiao Xiao said regretfully, "It's more fun when we play together. I should really freeze you back in the ice coffin." Crystal Candy turned around with a dark face, ignoring Xiao Xiao. "You're shy, Crystal Candy. You can't tell the truth next time. It's easy to offend people." Xiao Xiao shook her head and walked out of Crystal Candy's room. Crystal Candy, on the other hand, almost fell on the floor after hearing Xiao Xiao's last sentence. Shy. She was pissed off. Linny felt that the qi in his body was increasing, and although he didn't need to guide it, the pain from his meridians and Dantian was still very painful for Lin Yi, but it was still within Lin Yi's bearable range. After all, the first time Lin Yi took the qi gathering pill, he had to compress his qi and explode it in his body. The pain back then was much more painful than this, but it was nothing compared to the pain now. Finally, Lin Yi felt the qi in his body turn into a peak, and it felt like it was about to overflow. Lin Yi knew that he was about to break through. As expected, not long after, Lin Yi felt a huge explosion in his body, and the qi around him started to spin rapidly, forming a giant whirlpool that surged into Lin Yi's body. He broke through. Lin Yi could clearly feel the changes in his senses after stepping into Sky Class. Lin Yi's hearing, vision, perception, and even his body's quality were all improved. Lin Yi subconsciously started the chant of the art of Dragon Mastery, and the second stage of the art of Dragon Mastery flowed smoothly in Lin Yi's body. There were no longer any signs of being poisoned, and Lin Yi finally let out a breath of relief. The antidote was finally cured. He was an Earth class back then, and he could kill a Sky class instantly. Lin Yi, who had stepped into the early stage of Sky class, could already feel the obvious difference between him and the Earth class. He didn't know if those Sky class experts that he killed were too weak or something, but at least Lin Yi felt that he definitely couldn't be killed by himself when he was in the Earth class. Perhaps, even among Sky class experts, there was still a difference in strength. And this difference in strength was more obvious the higher the level. When it came to Yellow class and Mystic class, even if there was a difference, it wouldn't be too big. It was like the difference between 1 centimeter and 9 millimeters. The difference wasn't too big, and it might not be seen from afar. But between 10 centimeters and 9 centimeters, the difference was huge, and the difference could be seen at a glance. It should be the same between Sky class experts. Of course, this was just Lin Yi's speculation. Phew, did I break through? This feeling is really great. Lin Yi just wanted to stand up from the bed and stretch, but the next moment he found something wrong. Lin Yi felt that his acupuncture points were still absorbing the qi in the air, and it didn't stop. Chapter 2974. However, there was no aura around Lin Yi's body because the aura in the city was already scarce. When Lin Yi broke through just now, it all gathered and poured into Lin Yi's body. How could there be any aura now? However, What made Lenny feel strange was that he could absorb the aura when he broke through, but not when he cultivated. He reckoned that when he broke through, the heaven and earth spiritual chi would automatically gather and form a purer form of energy. But when he cultivated, he couldn't gather the heaven and earth spiritual chi. But now, Lin, he couldn't care less, because Lin, he had a feeling of suffocation. Of course, it wasn't that he couldn't breathe, but his body needed to absorb the aura, and the aura around him couldn't supply it at all. Enqing came to Donghai City, near Lin Yi's villa. However, she didn't enter the villa because it seemed a bit too abrupt. When she was hesitating, she suddenly felt that there were other cultivators nearby. The next moment, Aunt Qing appeared in front of Yu Yi. Although Aunt Qing and Yu Yi were both heaven stage masters, Yu Yi's strength was lower than Aunt Qing, and he was a hidden heaven stage master. Naturally, he was weaker than the heaven stage masters of the ancient sections. "You, who are you?" Aunt Qing's appearance startled Yui. Yui stared at Aunt Qing vigilantly, but he didn't dare to make a move. Although Aunt Qing didn't reveal her strength, someone who could quietly approach him, an early-stage heaven rank expert, was probably an even more powerful expert. Yui was very clear on this point. Aunt Qing only felt that Yui was a cultivator from the aura that Yui revealed when he relaxed, but he didn't reveal which level of cultivator Yui was. Aunt Qing didn't have that kind of cheat, so she couldn't see Elder Li's strength. "Were you a cultivator? What are you doing here? Could it be that you are plotting something?" Aunt Qing came here to help Lin Yi guard against those people who wanted to take advantage of the situation. As soon as you hid nearby, Aunt Qing naturally regarded him as Lin Yi's enemy. "I'm the elder of the hidden house, Yu Yi. My presence here doesn't bother you. So who are you with?" Yu Yi wasn't arrogant, but he didn't lower his voice either. He asked calmly, "Hidden house, Yu?" Aunt Qing paused. "Wasn't that Yu Bing's house? In that case, he shouldn't be an enemy." So his attitude became more amiable. "In that case, you can be considered as one of us." Yui was taken aback. He disapproved of Aunt Qing's attempt to get close to him. "Don't try to get close to me. What do you mean we're on the same side? Why don't I recognize you?" Aunt Qing smiled after hearing Yu Yi's words. She said that he was one of them, so naturally, she was just being polite. She didn't think that Yu Yi would reject her first, but she wasn't annoyed. She only said, "Your family's Yu Bing is an outer sect deacon of my sect. Do you think he's one of us?" Yu Bing? Outer sect deacon? Didn't this person in front of him come from the Ice Palace? With that thought, Yu Yi shivered. He quickly said respectfully, "Senior, are you a master of the Ice Palace?" "Haha, I'm the same as you. I'm also an elder." Aunt Qing was a friendly person. She smiled. Hidden House Yu's old master, Yu Xing, and class monitor, old Yu Yi, greet the senior elder of the Ice Palace. Yu Yi quickly cupped his fists and said, but his tone was a little pretentious. Yu Yi's position in the Hidden House Yu wasn't much lower than the current head of the house, Yu Shaoqian. He was also building up his reputation so that his position wouldn't be lower than Aunt Qing's. One had to know that a Sky-class elder of the Hidden House Yu wasn't much weaker than a normal elder of an ancient sect. Aunt Qing frowned. Her position as an elder was similar to Yu Yi. Yu Yi's job was to serve Elder Yu, while Qing's job was to serve Rock Candy. Their positions were very similar, but Aunt Qing didn't purposely emphasize it. But since Yu Yi had spoken like this, Aunt Qing was in the mood to teach him a lesson. She smiled faintly. "It seems that our positions are about the same. I am Shaoqing, just a servant of the sect master. I was able to become an elder because I raised the sect master from a young age, and I relied on my connections to become an elder." Aunt Qing's words sounded like she was belittling herself, but in Yu Yi's ears, it was like a thunderclap. He blushed. He thought that in order to gain face for himself, he didn't want to be too weak in front of Aunt Qing. So he said what he said before. He didn't expect that it would bring him humiliation. Aunt Qing's position in the Ice Palace could be said to be second only to the Palace Master, similar to his position in House Yu. But Aunt Qing had always been kind and nice, while he was acting all cocky. It made him feel a little embarrassed. "Senior, you're here for..." He was afraid of embarrassing himself, so he quickly changed the topic. Our Vice Palace Master Feng Xiao Xiao is Mr. Lin Yi's girlfriend. She heard that Mr. Lin Yi was injured, so she asked me to come see if there were any clowns. Aunt Qing said honestly, Elder Yi, did you see them? Elder Qing, you could just call me First Rain. What kind of elder am I in front of you? First Rain blushed and said, I've seen a few clowns. He didn't hide anything from little Qing. He told her what he saw. The people of the Zhao family came to find trouble, and the people of the Dark Knight Palace came to find trouble, including the first time he came forward to resolve it, and the second time the young master of the Heavenly Elixir School came forward to resolve it. Sky Silkworm Morph is here too. Aunt Qing paused after hearing Yu Yi's words. He didn't think there was anything wrong with Yu Yi's actions. Aunt Qing saw that Yu Bing was training in the Ice Palace, so she thought that the hidden house you had a good relationship with Lin Yi. She didn't think that it was so complicated. She only suspected Sky Silkworm Morph's purpose. Yes, the young master said that it was to protect the fairness of the Sky Elixir's test. Yu Yi said, Fairness? When has the Sky Elixir ever been fair? They'd be lucky if they didn't bully others. Aunt Qing hemphed coldly, evidently dissatisfied with the Sky Elixir. Yui didn't dare say anything. Ancient matters weren't something a small hidden house elder like him could comment on. He could only pretend that he didn't hear anything. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Other than that, what else did you see? Aunt Qing waved her hand and continued to ask. She obviously didn't want to talk about the Sky Elixir. Chapter 2975. But he didn't say anything about Elder Yu's guesses about Lin Yi pretending to be injured. After all, there was no way to know if it was real or not. He only said what he saw. All right, thank you. Stay here then. I'll go take a look. Aunt Qing didn't chase Yui away. She thought that Yui was sent by Yu Bing to protect Lin Yi, so she turned around and walked towards the villa. Yu Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Aunt Qing's back, he quickly dialed Elder Yu's number. He had to tell Elder Yu about this. The people from the Ice Palace were here too. It seemed that the situation in the Ice Palace wasn't like what Yu Bing had reported. Bing Tang had full control over the Ice Palace, and now, Xiao Xiao could make her voice heard in the Ice Palace. Or rather, Xiao Xiao and Bing Tang's relationship had reached a certain level. Otherwise, Bing Tang wouldn't have allowed someone like Elder Qing to come here. It seemed that Housey not being too involved in this was the right decision. Otherwise, Yu Bing might get into trouble. Elder Yu heard Yu Yi's report and was a bit surprised, but he wasn't too worried. Yu Yi, do your job. If that Elder Qing talks to you again, find a chance to hint to her that you're here to help Lin Yi because of Yu Bing. Yes, Master. Yu Yi said quickly. Aunt Qing asked about the situation and decided to go to the villa to find Lin Yi. 1, to check on Lin Yi's injuries, and 2, with her here, it would be enough to scare off those who came looking for trouble. With the Ice Palace Elder here, even if the Dark Palace came, they have to go back. Standing in front of Lin Yi's villa, Aunt Qing rang the doorbell. The sudden ringing startled everyone in the villa. After all, Lin Yi was at the critical moment of breaking through, and someone suddenly came to visit. Naturally, everyone was nervous. I'll go take a look. Old Pai pondered for a moment before saying. He was a heaven-rank expert and was the strongest among them, so he volunteered to take the lead. Naturally, no one objected. Elder Pai came to the door and saw a woman in green standing there. She didn't look like a modern person, but more like someone from ancient times or from a wuxia TV show. May I ask who you're looking for? Elder Pai asked curiously. Hello, is this Mr. Lin Yi's villa? I'm Elder Qing of Ice Palace, and the Sect Master and Vice Palace Master Feng sent me here. They heard that Mr. Lin Yi was injured, so they asked me to come here to scare some of them. Aunt Qing, naturally, told the people around Lin Yi about her identity and purpose of coming here, as well as her identity as an elder of the Ice Palace, to Old Pai. It's Elder Qing. Please come in. Elder Pai quickly made a welcoming gesture after hearing Aunt Qing's identity. As for the tablet in her hand, he'd heard of it before. One look, and he knew that it wasn't fake. I'm the head of the Hidden House Pai, and the people inside are Mr. Lin Yi's family and followers. Annie Ching nodded and entered the villa with Old Man Pai. The people in the villa had heard their conversation outside. Hearing that it was an elder from the Ice Palace, everyone's face lit up with joy. But it didn't matter anymore, since Lin Yi was about to recover his strength. Once he recovered, Aunt Qing could go back. "Hello, Aunt Qing, I'm Meng Yao. I've heard about you from Lin Yi before. Thank you for taking care of him in Ice Palace." Meng Yao had heard about Lin Yi's experiences in Ice Palace, and she knew that Aunt Qing had put in a good word for him. "Haha, it's just something I can do." Aunt Qing smiled casually. "Where's Lin Yi? I'll go check on him." "It's like this. Lin Yi is recovering his strength in his room. You'll have to wait for a while." "Aunt Qing," Meng Yao said quickly. "Recover?" Aunt Qing paused. "Didn't his Dantian and meridians get destroyed? How can he recover?" When Aunt Qing came here, Lin Yi had just finished breaking through from Earth-class late phase peak to Sky-class early phase, and the surrounding chi had already entered Lin Yi's body. She couldn't feel anything around him anymore, so she didn't know that Lin Yi was breaking through. Lin Yi's meridians and Dantian have been recovered with a special method, and Lin Yi is now preparing to use the Qi-gathering pill that Zhao Qikuan brought back from your sect to break through to Sky-class early phase. Meng Yao didn't hide anything. After all, it was the Ice Palace that gave it to her. "What?" Aunt Qing was shocked. "You're saying that Lin Yi used the pill and is preparing to break through to Sky-class?" "Yeah, what's wrong?" Seeing the change in Aunt Qing's face, Meng Yao's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like something was wrong. "Hurry and stop him. Don't let him use the pill to break through, or the consequences will be unimaginable," Aunt Qing said quickly. The reason why she asked Meng Yao to stop Lin Yi was that she couldn't just barge around in Lin Yi's villa. After all, Meng Yao was more familiar with the layout of the villa. Meng Yao didn't ask why and rushed to Lin Yi's room. She didn't even knock and just pushed the door open. Yushu followed behind Meng Yao and barged into Lin Yi's room. "Lin Yi, don't use the Qi-gathering pill to break through." Meng Yao stood at the door and shouted subconsciously. But after saying that, she looked up at Lin Yi and realized that Lin Yi was naked, sitting cross-legged on the bed. Meng Yao couldn't help but scream. She blushed and wanted to turn around to leave, but she suddenly remembered that she was here to stop Lin Yi from using the Qi-gathering pill. She stopped immediately, but in her heart, Meng Yao was complaining. What was Lin Yi doing? Why didn't he wear clothes when he was training? "What's wrong, Yao Yao sis? What happened to Shield Bro?" Shu, who was following behind them, thought that Meng Yao had seen something horrifying. She asked quickly, thinking that Meng Yao had seen something terrifying. No, nothing. Shu, go and see what happened to Lin Yi." Meng Yao blushed and stuttered. She didn't know what to say. At this moment, her heart was still beating wildly. She didn't dare to look at Lin Yi's direction, but she couldn't just turn around and leave, so she could only ask Yushu to see what happened. Chapter 2976. Oh, when Yushu entered the room and saw the scene in the room, she froze. But compared to Meng Yao, Yushu's face didn't even blush. She was just a little surprised. Holy shit, Shield Bro isn't wearing any clothes? But Shield Bro's muscles are still so toned. He's so handsome. "Shu, I'll let you see how Lin Yi looks. What's wrong with your face?" Meng Yao was a little annoyed. Why was Yushu admiring Lin Yi's naked body at a time like this? Oh. Yushu walked over and looked at Lin Yi's body carefully, including his private parts. Luckily, Yushu wasn't joking this time. Instead, she was incomparably serious, as if she was really checking if there was anything wrong with Lin Yi. Although Meng Yao was a little embarrassed, she didn't stop her. She only stared at Yushu's direction from the corner of her eyes, but she didn't dare to look straight at her. After a long time, Yushu came to a conclusion. There seemed to be nothing wrong with Lin Yi. Other than being naked, his body was perfectly fine. So she said, "Yao Yao sis, Shu can't see anything wrong with Shield Bro, but I've actually never seen other boys naked before, so I'm not sure if there's anything wrong with Shield Bro." "Go to hell," Meng Yao said angrily. Don't act like you're the one who got the advantage. Yao Yao sis can look too. You're the one who didn't want to look, Yushu said. Aunt Qing had heard Ming Yao scream and wanted to run over to see what was going on, but Yushu said that Lin Yi wasn't wearing any clothes. Aunt Qing, naturally, didn't want to go and see what was going on, but she was very anxious. Now that she heard that there was nothing wrong with Lin Yi's body, she couldn't help but wonder, there's nothing wrong with Lin Yi's skin? Will it turn green and purple, and there are signs of it drying up? No. Yushu shook her head and said with certainty, Huh, that's strange. Could it be that he didn't eat the qi gathering pill to break through? Aunt Qing thought about it and could only think of this possibility, so she shouted not far from the door, Lin Yi, I'm your Aunt Qing. I know you can hear me. Don't take the qi gathering pill to break through. Otherwise, the consequences will be very serious. After that, Aunt Qing turned to Meng Yao and Yushu. All right, you guys can leave now. Don't disturb him. I've already told him. All right. Meng Yao listened to Aunt Qing's words. Although she was a little suspicious, it seemed like there was nothing wrong, so she finally relaxed. Shoo, let's go. But I haven't seen enough yet, Yushu said a little reluctantly. Pervert, you can stay here if you keep looking. I'm leaving, Meng Yao said angrily. Oh, then I'm leaving too. Although Yushu said that she was leaving, she looked back 3 times with every step. Meng Yao was so angry that she kicked Yushu. Go. As for what happened outside, Lin Yi was actually very clear, but Lin Yi was busy solving the problem he encountered at the moment. How could he have time to care about them? Lin Yi also heard Aunt Qing's words, and he couldn't help but secretly smile bitterly. If she had come a step earlier, he wouldn't have been so unprepared. So for the conversation of the girls outside the door, Lin Yi could only smile bitterly. However, Lin Yi's skin was indeed green and purple before, but Meng Yao and Yushu didn't notice anything strange. In fact, it was because Lin Yi found a solution. The feeling of suffocation made Lin Yi very painful. Because of the lack of heaven and earth spiritual energy, Lin Yi quickly entered the space of the jade pendant. In the outside world, there was no heaven and earth spiritual energy, but in the space of the jade pendant, it was different. There was inexhaustible heaven and earth spiritual energy there. As expected, when Lin Yi entered the space of the jade pendant, a large amount of pure energy rushed into Lin Yi's body, and then quickly nourished Lin Yi's meridians and dantian. Soon, Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised to find that he had actually stabilized the strength of the early stage of Heaven Stage just after breaking through to Heaven Stage. This miraculous speed made Lin Yi incomparably surprised, because Lin Yi heard that masters who broke through to Heaven Stage would have a period of unstable strength, especially when they used elixirs to break through. Old Zhao was an example. But Lin Yi found that this qi gathering elixir didn't have this flaw, and it directly stabilized Lin Yi's strength. And when Lin Yi's strength stabilized, Lin Yi found that the state of the body's acupuncture points automatically absorbing heaven and earth spiritual energy stopped and returned to normal. But when Lin Yi realized this, he didn't have the joy from before, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. If he didn't have the space of a jade pendant, then he would have been in trouble before. This qi gathering elixir seemed to be different from the qi gathering elixir. After the qi gathering elixir broke through, it would continue to absorb heaven and earth spiritual energy to stabilize the level of strength. But the qi gathering elixir didn't have this process. Think about it. If Lin Yi didn't have the space of the jade pendant to absorb pure energy, where would Lin Yi absorb so much heaven and earth spiritual energy to stabilize his strength? Even if Lin Yi didn't use the space of the jade pendant to cultivate, and didn't take the qi gathering elixir, the thin heaven and earth spiritual energy around his body was simply not enough to stabilize his strength. Lin Yi was sure that if he didn't absorb enough heaven and earth spiritual energy, he would have died from the lack of heaven and earth spiritual energy. In other words, if someone else had used this method to break through, it would have been very dangerous. They would have lost all their strength, and they would have lost their lives. Of course, Chikuin wouldn't harm him, and Chijio probably didn't know about this. He was using the Chi gathering pill to break through from Earth class early phase to late phase peak, and he didn't need it to break through the level barrier. He probably didn't know about this. With that thought, he secretly rejoiced. It seemed that the Jade Space had saved his life again. This golden finger, it was always helping him at the most critical moments. Sometimes, he would blame himself. He had the Jade Pendant, and yet his leveling speed wasn't as fast as Zhang Naipeo's. But now that he thought about it, he was the one who won in the end. Leveling fast didn't mean that he was the final winner. After stabilizing his strength, he took out a new set of clothes from the wardrobe and put it on. But at that moment, he had a feeling that something was wrong. It seemed like the last time he used the Chi gathering elixir to break through, someone came to see him, but what did he do after that? He seemed to have made a phone call, but who was he calling? Chapter 2977. Lenny didn't know why his memory became so bad sometimes, but now wasn't the time to think about this. He had to go out as soon as possible to reassure everyone. So, Lenny got up and pushed the door out of the room. "Lenny, how are you?" What Lenny didn't expect was that the first one to speak was Miss Ming Yao. Even Shu couldn't get it. Moreover, although there was a hint of blush on the Miss face, the deep concern in her eyes was irreplaceable, and it warmed Lin Yi's heart. "I'm fine." He shook his head and smiled at Meng Yao, then turned to Aunt Qing. "Aunt Qing, you're here." "Lenny, how are you? You didn't take the mid-chi gathering pill?" Aunt Qing looked at Yi with some doubts, but Yi didn't use the mantra, and she couldn't see Yi's current strength. When she came before, Yi went into the space of the jade pendant to use the mantra, so she couldn't feel it from the outside world. "Aunt Qing, don't forget after I took the Chi gathering pill and broke through to the Earth class, I can continue to cultivate and upgrade. So after taking the mid-Chi gathering pill, I'm naturally fine." He didn't say much about his special situation. After all, the matter of the space of the jade pendant was a secret. Fortunately, when Yi said this, Aunt Qing thought of Yi's abnormality and didn't ask much. "Yes, you're amazing. You can't think with ordinary logic. Then now you're..." "Yes, I'm now in the early stage of heaven class." As Yi said this, he slightly used the mantra and revealed the strength of the early stage of heaven class. A look of astonishment flashed across Aunt Qing's face. Although she was very puzzled as to why Yi's meridians and dantian had been restored, and why nothing had happened to him after taking the Chi-gathering pill, she didn't ask much. She just said, "Congratulations. It seems like I came here for nothing. I should go back and report to Palace Master Bing and Vice Palace Master Feng. It's not superfluous." Yi thanks Aunt Qing for coming here to help. "If Aunt Qing needs my help in the future, don't hesitate to ask. As long as I can do it, I won't hesitate." He had a very good impression of Aunt Qing. The first time he went to the Ice Palace, he was indebted to her care, so he always remembered it. Then Aunt Qing must remember this. If there really comes a day when I beg you, don't decline. Aunt Qing smiled and got up to leave. She wasn't the type to drag things out, and she was also an elder of an ancient sect. It wasn't good for her to stay in the common world for too long. If Yi was injured, then there was still an excuse. Now that Yi wasn't injured, she was naturally ready to leave. "Aunt Qing, but I hope that you can keep the matter of my meridians and dantian recovering and using the Chi-gathering pill to break through a secret." Yi said solemnly. "Don't worry about this. Your Aunt Qing and the Ice Palace Master aren't talkative people. Your Xiao Xiao won't betray you," Aunt Qing said with a smile. "Okay, Aunt Qing, then I won't send you off. You know that I've just recovered and broken through, so it's not good for me to go out." Yi said, "I understand. You don't have to send me off. I'll leave myself." With that, she turned and quickly left the villa. After she left, the living room of the villa became lively again. The happiest person was Zhao Qikuan. "Boss, you've finally recovered. I feel a lot better now. Otherwise, I'd feel guilty for the rest of my life. Right, Lenny. What was the problem that Elder Ching was talking about? Elder Pai asked curiously. It's nothing, actually. It's just the level barrier. I can't explain it in a few words, but don't use the Qi gathering pill as a pill to break through the level barrier. Lenny said, we have you, boss, to level up. Why we need pills? Chen Tian and the others smiled. Right, speaking of leveling up, Chikuin, come with me. I'll bring you up to Earth-class late phase peak first. Lenny said. Although the hidden house Zhao had screwed him over, it didn't have much to do with Chikuin. He was able to reach Sky Class because of Chikuin, and Lin Yi hadn't had the time to help Chikuin. Naturally, there was a chance now. Plus, Lin Yi wasn't wearing any clothes, and it was a bit awkward for Meng Yao and Yushu to barge into the room. What? Earth-class late phase peak? Chikuin froze. Boss, did I hear wrong? No. Now that I'm a Sky Class, I can bring you up to Earth-class late phase peak. As for the small Qi gathering pills, they're useless now. If I had them, I could mass-produce Sky Class Masters. Lenny said, God, boss, doesn't that mean we can break through to Earth-class late phase peak as well? Chun Tian said, pleasantly surprised and envious. He envied Chikuin for being the first to level up, but he was also surprised that Lin Yi wouldn't be left behind. That's right. Lin Yi nodded and took a deep breath, solemnly. Tonight will be the night everyone's strength will skyrocket. Tomorrow, we'll go to the hidden house Zhao for revenge. But as he said that, Lin Yi looked at Chikuin. Lin Yi wanted to see what Chikuin's reaction would be. As expected, Chikuin's face showed a complicated expression, but it quickly turned into decisiveness. Boss, I'll go with you. Lin Yi nodded. It seemed that Chikuin was completely disappointed in the hidden house now. Let's go. You come with me to the room first. The others guard outside. Yes, everyone answered. Chikuin, on the other hand, followed Lin Yi into the room. The next morning, when the sun rose, everyone in Lin Yi's villa, other than Elder Pai, had all become Earth-class late-phase peak. Even Elder Pai himself was an Earth-class late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, but his physical strength was already Sky-class, and Lin Yi couldn't level it up. Looking at the room full of quasi-Sky-class lackeys, Lin Yi felt a surge of emotions he had never felt before. This power was extremely strong in the ancient world, but it wasn't enough to make it into the ancient world. After all, Lin Yi didn't have any top masters here, and there were too few of them. They couldn't compare to the ancient sections. Chapter 2978. Early in the morning, everyone had a good meal. Then, Old Han called a minibus. Except for Wu Gonggao and Pai Zhihai, the rest of Lin Yi's underlings, including Old Han and Old Pai, all got on the minibus and headed towards the hidden Zhao family. In the hidden Zhao family, Old Zhao welcomed several very important guests today. These people were Old Yu of the hidden Yu family, Jin Zhong of the Golden Bell sect, and one of the Qinshan sect. They came to the hidden Zhao family today to discuss the second step of the plan to eliminate Lin Yi. The first step of the crusade against Lin Yi, the hidden Zhao family, had been completed. Originally, everyone only needed to wait for Lin Yi's enemies to find trouble with Lin Yi and kill Lin Yi. However, after waiting for so long, Lin Yi's enemies came, but because of the intervention of the Heavenly Elixir sect, Lin Yi's enemies left. This made Old Zhao very upset. He thought that Lin Yi would die when he returned, but after waiting for a few days, there was no movement from Lin Yi's villa. Finally, Old Zhao became impatient. The hidden Yu family, Golden Bell sect, and Qinshan sect, who were also Lin Yi's enemies, were also impatient. So, they arranged to meet at the hidden Zhao family today to discuss the second step of the crusade against Lin Yi. Old Master Yu, Lin Yi ate the poison, and he's crippled, but no one is looking for trouble with him. This isn't a problem. Old Master Zhao waited for everyone to sit down and said straightforwardly, these people were all Lin Yi's enemies, and they all came with the same purpose. So, there was no need for polite greetings, and they just went straight to the point. It's all your hidden Zhao family's fault. If you killed Lin Yi directly after he was poisoned, how could there be so many problems? Now, Lin Yi's underlings have gathered here. It won't be easy to make a move. Old Master, you snorted and complained. You can't blame us, the hidden Zhao family. If you're so capable, why didn't you wait in front of our Zhao family and kill Lin Yi directly? Old man, Zhao pursed his lips. Isn't everyone worried that Lin Yi's lackeys from the primordial era will come looking for trouble? From the looks of it, none of Lin Yi's lackeys from the ancient sects are here. They're clearly unreliable. Gate Master Jean said, but the two of you don't have to complain to each other. Previously, both of you were afraid of bearing the revenge of the ancient little brother alone. But now, since everything is fine, let's discuss how to kill Lin Yi. That's right. There won't be any results no matter how much we argue. Sect Master Wen nodded in agreement. I see that there is a way. The few of us can go to Lin Yi's house and kill Lin Yi. It's not impossible, Old Man Zhao said. Old you and I are both heaven stage masters. As long as one of us restrains Old Man Pai and the other kills Lin Yi's lackeys, Gate Master will deal with the spirit beasts, and Gate Master Jean can kill Lin Yi directly. This plan is not a problem. But are you sure one of you can restrain Old Man Pai, and the other can kill Lin Yi's lackeys? Gate Master Jin's job was relatively easy. He just had to kill Lin Yi, the cripple. But if anything went wrong, he would be in trouble too. There can't be any problems. Old Man Zhao said, I will restrain Old Man Pai. There are still a few Heaven Stage Masters in the Yu family. Let's kill Lin Yi's lackeys together. It will be a one-sided massacre. That's a good idea. I still have to bring masters. Old Man Yu pouted. Those are the people from the Yu family. They won't come without any benefits. I will have to bleed a lot. Don't say that. Because of this plan, our hidden Zhao family has given out 200 million. Do you guys bleed as much as I do? Old Man Zhao retorted. All right, I agree with this plan. Old Man Yu thought about it and agreed. Zhao family paid a lot too, so he nodded and agreed. I have no problem too. Gate Master was quite experienced in dealing with spirit beasts. He was thinking if he should knock out the purple lightning beast and then transport back. After all, the purple lightning beast was their Qinshan sect's spirit beast. If he could bring back a few other spirit beasts, it would be a huge gain. If that's the case, then Old Man, you will contact the masters in the family. Let's get ready to go. Old Man Zhao saw that everyone agreed and didn't have any objections. Just as he was about to leave, there was a hurried knock on the door of the conference room. Old Man Zhao frowned. He thought to himself, why are my disciples so unruly? Don't they know that I'm gathering the leaders of various hidden families and ordinary sects for a meeting? However, it wasn't good to be angry in front of outsiders. He could only ask patiently, who is it? What's the matter? Master, bad news, bad news. A hidden Zhao family's disciple shouted as he rushed into the conference room. What's bad? How can you make such a racket like this? I'm here. There's also Master Yu of the hidden Yu family, Gate Master of the Qinshan sect, and Gate Master Jean of the Golden Bell sect. They're all first-class masters. Even if the sky falls, there will be people here. Why are you shouting? Old Man Zhao was completely angry. Isn't this a joke in front of outsiders? Yes, yes. The hidden Zhao family's disciple was in fear. He didn't dare to refute and could only say, Master, there's really a problem. What's the problem? Tell me. Old Man, Zhao waved his hand and asked. There's no need for him to say it. I'll say it. An abrupt and familiar voice abruptly resounded, causing all the patriarchs and sect leaders present to instantly shiver, and they froze on the spot as if they had been struck by lightning. Lin Yi. Old Man Zhao was very familiar with this voice. It seems like Old Man Zhao is very familiar with my voice. I haven't even arrived, and you already recognized me. Lin Yi's voice came from afar and finally appeared at the door of the conference room. However, Lin Yi came in a wheelchair, and the person pushing the wheelchair was Zhao Qikuan. I support Lin Qianbei. After all, Lin Qianbei and my coiling tiger are classmates, and their relationship is quite good. So, the reason I'm here today is to attack the hidden house Zhao and old Master Zhao for poisoning Lin Yi. Really? Since when did I have a good relationship with coiling tiger? Lin Yi smiled as he looked at old Master Yu. Why not? Coiling tiger often gives you treasures, did you forget? Those medicine cauldrons and alchemy materials? Old Master Yu said quickly. Oh, that seems to be the case. Lin Yi nodded. The main purpose of his visit today was to seek justice from the hidden house Zhao. As for the others, Lin Yi wasn't prepared to make a big move. After all, the house Yu had the Heavenly Elixir sect as their backing. Lin Yi didn't want to touch them for the time being. The Heavenly Silkworm transformation helped Lin Yi once, and Lin Yi directly kicked out the hidden forces. This wasn't right no matter what. Yes, I also want to say that it's naturally impossible. Qianshan sect master will also said, our Qianshan sect has always been on good terms with Qianbei Lin Yi. We have always been grateful to Qianbei Lin Yi for adopting our purple thunderstorm beast and solving our Qianshan sect's troubles. Otherwise, the purple thunderstorm beast would devour treasures in our sect all day long, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it. It was Qianbei Lin Yi who adopted the spirit beast righteously and reduced our burden. So this time, I am just like Elder Yu, crusading against the hidden house Zhao's vile behavior. Yes, our Golden Bell sect too. I am grateful to Qianbei Lin Yi's underling for killing Jin Wudi, that old thing. If he didn't die, how could I take over? So Qianbei Lin Yi is my benefactor. I also want to crusade against the hidden house Zhao. Sect Master Jin quickly shouted. Old man Zhao's face had already changed color. He had a deep understanding of the shamelessness of his three allies. What was called sailing with the wind, what was called sucking up to the powerful, these three displayed it to the fullest. Elder Yu, don't try to cut ties with him. You gave us the poison. Elder Zhao couldn't care less. In order to pull these three into his camp, he had to shed all pretenses. Well, weren't you the one who gave us the poison against the spirit beast? Jin, who agreed to kill Lin Yi just now. Treacherous and shameless to the extreme. Elder Zhao, don't spout nonsense. When did I give you the poison? We, the Hidden Yu family, do alchemy, not poison. Elder Yu immediately retorted. That's right, bullshit. If our Qianshan sect had poison against spirit beasts, why didn't we use it at the Hidden House Summit? Sect Master was said. However, it wasn't that he didn't use it at the Hidden House Summit. He didn't bring it. However, this became the best excuse for him to retort. Nonsense. Qianbei Lin Yi killed Jin Wudi and helped me take over. I can't even thank him enough. Why would I kill him? Sect Master Jin raged. You. Elder Zhao was so furious he nearly spat out blood. If these three were on his side, then they might have a chance of winning. But these three betrayed him. What good would the Zhao family have? Chapter 2980. Thinking of this, old Master Zhao slumped on the chair and shivered in fear. He didn't have the demeanor and momentum that a heaven stage master should have. He pointed at Lin Yi while trembling. Impossible, impossible. You were poisoned. Your dantian and meridians were destroyed. How could nothing happen to you? Who told you that I was destroyed? Who told you that I was poisoned? Lin Yi looked at Elder Zhao and asked teasingly, Oh, right, that poison of yours was pretty tasty. It helped me break through to Sky Class after eating it. Really good stuff. Do you have more of it? Can you give me some more? No. Impossible. How is this possible? Could it be? Old Master Zhao suddenly turned his head and stared at Old Yu. Old Yu, you tricked me. That's not poison. It's a breakthrough medicine, right? Old Master Yu is also stunned. He thought, how is this possible? This poison was given by Heavenly Elixir sect. How could it be a breakthrough medicine? But Old Yu suddenly thought of something. When Lin Yi was in trouble, Heavenly Silkworm transformation personally solved the trouble from the Dark Knight Palace. Could it be that there was an unspeakable secret between Heavenly Elixir sect and Lin Yi? Although this medicine was given by Kong Ming Ming, Lin Yi's opponent, Kong Ming Ming was an alchemist. How much knowledge could he have? What did he know? Maybe he was tricked by heavenly silkworm transformation and didn't know. In that case, this poison might really be a scheme by Heavenly Elixir Sect. But no matter what, this was not something that old Yu could participate in. Thinking that he actually participated in the plan to harm Lin Yi, he must be tired of living. Even his master, Heavenly Elixir Sect, helped Lin Yi and didn't want Lin Yi to die. It seemed that he had to make some appropriate adjustments to his Hidden Yu family's development plan. Thinking of this, old Yu said faintly, "Yes, that's right. That is the breakthrough medicine. So what if I gave it? I've been playing infernal affairs." "Motherfucker, you tricked me." Lord Zhao was so angry that his entire body was convulsing, unable to speak. On the other hand, Lin Yi looked at old Yu with interest. He found it funny listening to old Yu's words. Spies. But now it seemed that the poison was indeed given by the Hidden Yu family. "So, the three of you are my allies?" Lin Yi looked at Old Man Yu, Sect Master Jean, and Sect Master Hua and asked deliberately. "That's true, but we don't dare to be allies. We're just running errands, little brothers on the periphery. Old Master, you didn't dare to be arrogant." The current Lin Yi wasn't someone they could deal with. Lin Yi smiled and looked at them meaningfully. He said lightly, "If that's the case, then help me destroy the Hidden Zhao family. That saves me the trouble of doing it myself." Elder Yu was stunned after listening to Lin Yi's words. What? He wanted him to deal with the Hidden Zhao family? Old Man Zhao's face was also very ugly. He was very angry about Lin Yi dealing with the Hidden Zhao family, but there was nothing he could do. He could only threaten. "Old Man Yu, you have to think carefully. Don't fall into Lin Yi's trap. When you destroy our Hidden Zhao family, the ancient sects will definitely not let you go easily." "Is that so?" Old Man Yu quickly made a decision. Right now, if he didn't make a move, then Lin Yi would probably destroy them together. Old Man Yu knew how ruthless Lin Yi was. When he destroyed the secular House Yu, he didn't even blink and didn't care about the interference of the hidden houses. And now, Lin Yi probably wouldn't care about the pressure from the ancient sections. Lin Yi and the ancient sects have been enemies a long time ago. The Everyday and Everyday sect, the Dark Palace, these were all Lin Yi's enemies, but Lin Yi was still alive and well. Before, Silkworm Transformation had probably helped Lin Yi take care of the pressure from the Dark Palace. It was probably because Lin Yi was in isolation training and Silkworm Transformation didn't want to disturb Lin Yi. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's current strength, he could totally kill that black-clothed elder from the Dark Palace. "Lin Xianbei, what should we do?" Headmaster Hua asked impatiently. "Other than old Zhao and Zhao Guanyin, kill all the core members. The servants who aren't strong, just dismiss them." Lin Yi said to old Yu. As for old Zhao, Lin Yi took Qikuan's feelings into consideration. No matter what, he had to let Qikuan deal with him personally. As for Zhao Guanyin, Lin Yi thought that he was Chun Shi's father. Lin Yi didn't want to kill him, but he couldn't escape punishment. Lin Yi would also destroy his meridians and Dantian. But Zhao Guanyin wouldn't recover so easily. He could only be a normal person for the rest of his life. Yes, when Old Man Yu and the others heard that they didn't have to deal with Old Man Zhao and Zhao Guanyin personally, they heaved a sigh of relief. If they were to deal with those small fries, they wouldn't feel any pressure. However, if they were to deal with Old Man Zhao, even a heaven stage expert like Old Man, you would still be injured. After all, Old Yu was a refiner, and he wasn't good at fighting. Headmaster Hua and Headmaster Jean, on the other hand, were weak, only Earth class. It was still quite stressful for them to face old Zhao, who was a Sky class. If old Zhao fought them to the death, then they, as Earth class, would be at a disadvantage. So they suspected that Lin Yi wanted them to die together, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. Lin Yi planned to let them go this time, but he had to do something. After receiving the order, the three of them moved, running out of the meeting room to get rid of the core members of House Zhao. Old Zhao, on the other hand, sat on the chair slumped. His eyes were dull, and he couldn't say a word. Qikuan sighed softly and looked at old Zhao. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it? If you really wanted the hidden house, Zhao, to serve you, you wouldn't have ended up like this, right? I really don't understand. What's so good about Zhao Qibing to make you do this? Zhao Qikuan, you traitor, don't say that. You know your own strength very well. Zhao Qibing is an Earth-class early phase and a disciple of the ancient sect Dark Palace. Who do you think you are? You're just a mystic middle phase peak. What right do you have to fight for the position of heir? Old Zhao finally said what he was thinking. Huh? Qikuan laughed at himself. So, in your eyes, there's only Zhao Qibing. He's just an Earth-class early phase. Is he that strong in your eyes? Chapter 2981. He continued with a cold smile. Isn't it because you're relying on Linny? You're right, I miscalculated. I didn't think that Linny wouldn't be poisoned, but instead broke through. So what? You're relying on him, and if anything happens to him, you'll be in trouble. You don't have your own strength, so what's the use? All right, Earth-class late phase peak is like a fart in your eyes. It seems like you've been a fart for years as well. Qikuan shook his head, disappointed in the old man. What did you say? Old Zhao paused. What Earth-class late phase peak? Qikuan didn't reply and started channeling his practitioner's arts, revealing his Earth-class late phase peak to the old man. You're Earth-class late phase peak now? How is that possible? Old Zhao looked at Qikuan in shock. That's not possible. You were Mystic Middle Phase Peak before. How could you level up so fast? What kind of elixir did you use? I don't need to tell you that. Qikuan shook his head. You don't want me to be a part of House Zhao anyway. So what? You wouldn't dare kill me anymore. My grandson Zhao Qibing is a disciple of the ancient sect Dark Palace. If you kill me, Zhao Qibing will avenge me. Old Zhao saw that Lin Yi didn't kill him and thought that Lin Yi was afraid of the Dark Palace. If Zhao Qibing wants revenge, I'll welcome it any time. Kong Ming said the same thing, but he watched his brother's fiancée be with me every day. You think he doesn't want to kill me? Lin Yi looked at old Zhao, amused. I'm not killing you not because of Zhao Qibing, that Zhao Qibing. I'll deal with him when I have the time. I'm not killing you because you're Zhao Qikuan and Chunxi's grandpa. I don't want them to be sad. That's all. Naturally, Qikuan knew that Lin Yi was telling the truth. In the test, Lin Yi even dared to kill a disciple of the everyday and everyday sect, let alone the family of a Dark Palace disciple. Qikuan was touched that Lin Yi could say that. After all, Lin Yi was still caring about his feelings. Boss, cripple him and keep his life. Send him abroad and let him be an ordinary rich man. He won't have to worry about food and clothing. This is my request. Qikuan hesitated, but decided to say so. After all, he had cut ties with House Zhao, but he couldn't kill his grandpa. After all, old Zhao didn't have the heart to kill him with his own hands. This was Qikuan's final repayment. Sure, Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi had planned to do so before. Lin Yi looked at Old Man Zhao and asked, Old Man Zhao, do you have anything else to say? What do I say? Will you let me go? Old Man Zhao said hatefully. No. Lin Yi shook his head. Then what's there to say? Old Man Zhao humphed coldly. Do it. Zhao Qibing will avenge me. Lin Yi frowned slightly as he reached out and tapped on Old Zhao's body a couple of times. Old Zhao screamed in pain as well. The pain Lin Yi had gone through a few days ago was on him as well. Qikuan turned his head away, not looking at Old Man Zhao. After Lin Yi made his move, Qikuan took a deep breath and looked at Old Man Zhao. Grandpa, this is the last time I'll call you Grandpa. If you're smart, take the money from House Zhao and live the rest of your life abroad. Don't come back. This world doesn't belong to you anymore. I don't need you to mind my business. You're such a hypocrite. Old Man Zhao humphed coldly, gritting his teeth. Qikuan sighed softly and didn't say anything else. Wu Qintian, you're from the common world, House Wu. You have a lot of connections. Arrange for Old Man Zhao to go abroad. Lin Yi turned to Qintian. Yes, boss. Qintian nodded. I'll arrange it for him. Old Man Zhao, the Sky Class Master, the powerful hidden house Zhao, all of this would become a thing of the past, a memory. Zhao Qikuan, are you willing to take over the hidden house, Zhao? Linny asked. After all, after old man Zhao left, the hidden house Zhao still had a spot in the hidden house. With Lin, old man Han, old man Pai, old man Zhuang, and even old man Yu, Master Jean, and Master with support, Zhao Qikuan might be weak, but he'd be able to hold his own. No, boss, thank you for your good intentions. Let this sad family become history. I'll follow you from now on. Qikuan shook his head, rejecting Lin Yi's suggestion. Lin Yi nodded, not forcing the issue. While they were talking, Secmaster returned with a trembling woman and a child in his hands. Senior Lin, this woman is the wife of the hidden house, Zhao Guanyin, and this is his son. But this woman said that she's the aunt of your little brother and your old friend, and she doesn't want me to kill her. We didn't dare make the decision after hearing the woman's words. He brought the woman to Lin Yi, preparing to ask Lin Yi for his opinion. You Xiaojin. Lin Yi knew about the marriage between the hidden house Yu and house Zhao, and so when we brought it up, he immediately knew who this woman was. She was Yu Bing and Yu Ning's aunt. Yes, Senior Lin, I'm Yu Ning and Yu Bing's aunt, and I'm in the hidden house Zhao. I'm very pitiful right now, being ignored by Zhao Guanyin. I have nothing to do with them. Please don't kill me and the child. Xiaojin no longer had the aura of a mistress. She was just a pitiful woman who wanted to live. We had killed two of House Zhao's core disciples right in front of her, and it had completely destroyed her. She didn't even know what to say in front of Lin Yi, the mastermind behind all of this. Send her back to the hidden house, Yu. Lin Yi waved his hand, not wanting to talk too much to Xiaojin. He'd just take it as giving face to Yu Ning and Yu Bing. He'd also take it, as Yu Yi's sudden appearance, as a favor to House Yu. Yes, his attitude toward Xiaojin was much better after receiving the order. Let's go, Miss Yu. I'll get someone to send you back to the hidden house, Yu. All right. Thank you, Senior Lin, Xiaojin said with reverence. She naturally understood the situation in front of her. Lin Yi was the one giving the orders, and so she quickly thanked him. Chapter 2982. Zhao Guanyin. Lin Yi looked at Elder Yu and frowned. Yes, according to the Zhao family's disciples, when Elder Lin and the others entered the Zhao family's villa, Zhao Guanyin was escorted by Elder Mian and left the hidden Zhao family through the back door. It's been more than half an hour now. I've searched the back mountain and haven't found anyone. Elder Yu quickly said. One ran away. Lin Yi was taken aback. He didn't expect Zhao Guanyin to run away so fast. The reason why Lin Yi came to the hidden house in a wheelchair and didn't let Elder Pai and the others get off first was to confuse the hidden house and make them think that he didn't have the ability to take down the hidden house and that he was here to die. In fact, Elder Zhao did think so before, and because Elder Yu, Gate Master Wa, and Gate Master Jean were here, he felt that Lin Yi and the others wouldn't be able to return. But this Zhao Guanyin was a genius. The situation was clearly in the hidden house's favor, but he still ran away. It seemed that Zhao Guanyin wasn't as cowardly as Lin Yi thought. Yes, Senior Lin, when you entered the hidden house, Zhao Guanyin ran away with Elder Mian. Elder, you said, what do we do now? We definitely won't be able to catch up to them, because I don't know where they ran to. Let's not care about him for now and get rid of the others first. When Lin Yi heard that Zhao Guanyin ran away, he didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that something bad was going to happen, but he couldn't think of any bad consequences. After all, Zhao Guanyin was only an Earth-class master. Even Zhao Qibing, a disciple of the ancient sect, Dark Palace, wasn't afraid of him. What kind of trouble could Zhao Guanyin cause? However, the dispirited old master Zhao, who was sitting in his seat, suddenly laughed out loud when he heard that Zhao Guanyin had run away. Zhao Guanyin, you're really something. You didn't call me when you left. It's been so many years, and you've even lied to your old man. At this moment, old Master Zhao probably understood that Zhao Guanyin's previous lack of an opinion was just an act. Because old Master Zhao was too strong, too egotistical, and too greedy for power, he forcibly occupied the position of family head and never gave it up. As the young family head, Zhao Guangyin could only do this to protect himself. At the crucial moment, Zhao Guangyin's wisdom was revealed. Zhao Guangyin was obviously smarter than Old Man Zhao. He had been guarding against Lin Yi. When he saw Lin Yi and the others coming, he knew that it was not a good thing, so he ran away immediately. However, after Old Master Zhao complained, he laughed happily again. Good, 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 very good. Finally, one escaped. Lin Yi, it is impossible for you to destroy our hidden Zhao family. I didn't want to destroy your family in the first place. Isn't Zhao Qikuan still alive and well? Lin Yi looked at Old Master Zhao, deep in thought. It seemed like Old Master Zhao was agitated, and he was losing his mind. This was understandable. Life was full of ups and downs, and the winner who had the upper hand lost in the blink of an eye. Soon, Old Master Yu, Sect Master Hua, and Sect Master Jin returned. Most of the servants and non-core disciples of the Zhao family were dismissed. As for the stubborn loyal disciples and core disciples, they all became ghosts under the hands of these three people. Although these three weren't very strong, it was as easy as killing chickens for them to deal with the ordinary disciples of the hidden Zhao family. Senior Lin, we've done what you asked us to do. Can we go now? Old Master Yu asked. Go? No rush, since you all worship me so much. Let's take a picture at the entrance of the hidden Zhao family. Just nice, the disabled Old Master Zhao can be our foil. Lin Yi said. Take a picture? Old Master Yu froze, and then his face turned ugly. How could he not know what Lin Yi meant? Now that the hidden Zhao family was destroyed, if they left and started a rumor, Lin Yi might cause some trouble. After all, Lin Yi couldn't surpass the ancient level yet. If the ancient level questioned him, it wouldn't be easy for Lin Yi to deal with it. However, now that Lin Yi had dragged Old Yu, Gate Master Jin, and Gate Master were to take a group photo in front of the disabled old Zhao, it meant that today's matter had a lot to do with them. Unless the three of them were out of their minds, no one would bring up these things for no reason. Even if Old Master Zhao found the ancient sects and said that Lin Yi destroyed the hidden Zhao family, they would stand up and testify that Lin Yi didn't do it. How can we prove our friendship if we don't take a picture? Lin Yi asked indifferently. Okay, take a picture, then take a picture. Old Master Yu nodded helplessly. Therefore, Old Master Yu, Headmaster Jin, and Headmaster Hua all accompanied Lin Yi and stood in front of Old Master Zhao to take a picture. Although the three of them weren't very happy, they could only force a smile to cater to Lin Yi. After all, they were afraid of death. After taking his picture, Lin Yi waved his hand and said, Okay, you can go. When you go back, behave yourself. Don't think about useless things. Otherwise, it won't be good for you. Got it, Senior Lin. We will behave ourselves after we go back. Old Master Yu and the other two said quickly. Lin Yi nodded and left the hidden house Zhao with a group of his lackeys. A big house that had been bustling with noise and excitement suddenly became very quiet. People were dead and people were gone. Of course, the aftermath would be handled by Elder Han. After all, the matters of the hidden house level weren't something normal people could interfere with. But just when Lin Yi was about to go home to celebrate, Lin Yi's phone rang. A normal ringtone was something normal to Lin Yi, but for some reason, Lin Yi felt a little scared this time. He looked at the caller ID. It was Ziyu. Lin Yi was confused and quickly picked up the phone. Ziyu? What's wrong? Lin Yi bro, it's bad. Your little lover's been kidnapped. Ziyu yelled through the phone. What little lover? Lin Yi paused, not understanding what Ziyu was saying. It's Lil. She got kidnapped. Ziyu said. Chapter 2983. I don't know who it was, but in class today, the teacher said that she's father came looking for her. So she went out and never came back. Ziyu said, It's already lunch break, and there's no news, so I called you. Shen Shi's father? Zhao Guangyin? Lin Yi connected the two immediately. Could it be that Zhao Guangyin had kidnapped Chun Shi after coming out of the hidden house Zhao, using her as a bargaining chip to force him to let go of the hidden house Zhao? That was the only possibility he could think of, but Zhao Guangyin had already gotten his hands on Chun Shi and didn't call him to tell him anything. What was the reason for that? Didn't Zhao Guangyin know that time was money? The longer he stayed in the hidden Zhao family, the more danger they would face. Now that the hidden Zhao family's core disciples and people were all dead, he still didn't make a move. This didn't make sense. Could it be that he took Chun Shi away for some other purpose? But worrying about it now was pointless. Guangyin and Elder Mian were both practitioners, and Earth class at that. It would be a piece of cake for them to hide. Even if Lin Yi asked Lingshan to help him search for them, it wouldn't be of any use. With that thought, Lin Yi comforted her. Ziyu, don't worry. It's her father who kidnapped her. I'll take care of this. Just be careful. Okay, I understand. Linny, bro, you have to get Ziyu back as soon as possible. What if something happens to her? Ziyu said. Ziyu, don't worry. I'm worried too. Linny nodded. After hanging up, Lin Yi told everyone about Guangyin kidnapping Chen Shi, but they were all confused. They didn't know why Guangyin would kidnap Chen Shi. If he wanted to threaten Lin, wouldn't it be better to kidnap Ziyu as well? Although he couldn't figure it out, Lin Yi still dialed Boss Zhu's number immediately. Chen Shi's safety had always been Boss Zhu's responsibility, but when Lin Yi's call connected, no one picked up for a long time. Lin Yi frowned. It seemed that something had happened to Boss Zhu. He didn't know if he was in danger or not. Did you see second Boss Zhu? No. Han Tianba knew Zhu Lauer, but he didn't see him among the previous people. He didn't pay much attention to him at that time, but now that he thought about it, he realized something was wrong. Lin Yi nodded, his face serious. Either the second and Boss Zhu were still with Chen Shi, or the second and Boss Zhu had been exposed. But now, it seemed that the possibility of being exposed was higher. Otherwise, Boss Zhu wouldn't have ignored the call. Mr. Lin, Elder Pai and I have mobilized our family's power to search for Zhao Guangyin's whereabouts. You should also contact Elder Zhuang. After all, the hidden houses have some power, Han Tianba said, seeing Lin Yi frown. That's the only way. Lin Yi nodded and dialed Guxian's number. Guxian was the go-to person in the cultivation world. He should have a way to get information about Zhao Guangyin. Of course, the premise was that Zhao Guangyin was still in the cultivation world. If he went into hiding, then no one could do anything. Boss, Guxian picked up Lin Yi's call. Boss, I was just about to call you. I heard that your meridians and energy center are all destroyed. This news had already spread throughout the ancient times. What exactly was going on? You didn't mention this when you called me before. It's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry. Lin Yi said. I called you this time because I want you to help me find out about two people. One is called Zhao Guangyin, the young master of the hidden Zhao family. The other is called Chen Shi, Zhao Guangyin's illegitimate daughter. Oh, okay, boss. I'll remember it. If they appear in the cultivation world, I should be able to find out about them. Guxian nodded. He didn't ask for the reason. After seeing these two, should I capture them first, or, if possible, it's best to find out what they're up to and track them? Capturing them is good, but I'm afraid you're not Zhao Guangyin's match. Your strength is about the same. Lin Yi said. That's fine. If I'm alone, I'll find out where they are first. I'll make a move when I have enough people. Guxian said. All right, I'll leave this to you. Lin Yi said. At the moment, they could only wait for further news. This made Lin Yi's good mood a little gloomy. The others saw how bad Lin Yi's face was, and naturally, they didn't dare mention anything about celebrating. Zhao Qikuan felt guilty. This was all because of his old family, the hidden house Zhao. On a dilapidated national highway, an inconspicuous old Mitsubishi Pajero SUV was speeding along at high speed. The car was nondescript and old, but it was moving very fast. In other words, the driver was an excellent racer, and he was a one-armed man. That's right, this one-armed man was Zhao Qibing. His driving skills were quite good. Even if he was missing an arm, it didn't affect his driving skills at all. There were 3 people in the car. They were Zhao Guangyin, Elder Mian, and the unconscious Chen Shi. Qibing, is this really okay? This is our hidden house, Zhao's last chance to rise again. Zhao Guangyin said worriedly. Dad, don't worry. I've already contacted Elder Kong Ming Ming of the Sky Elixir Sect. He said that when the young master of the Sky Elixir Sect practices Sky Silkworm transformation, he'll find some girls to be his cauldrons and suck them dry, turning it into his own pure qi. He used to have a servant called Sky Butterfly, but she was all sucked to death by him. Zhao Qibing said with certainty. Chun, she's a good cauldron body. When Sky's Silkworm transformation is happy, he'll definitely give us a lot of benefits. Even if you join the Sky Elixir Sect, it wouldn't be a problem. We'll be father and son in the Sky Elixir Sect and Dark Palace. When we rebuild the hidden house, we'll see if that Lin, he still dares to mess with us. HM, that's the only way. Guangyin nodded and sighed. I'm afraid your grandfather's done for. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.